Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new year of Oakland University Club Football here at Oakland University. Today we've got the Golden Grizzlies versus the Wright State Raiders. In the booth today is Drew, Allison, myself, and I've got the former Michigan All-State left tackle, my brother, and Zachary Allison next to me. Zach, welcome in. What are we looking for today?
Great to be here. We're looking forward to a great matchup here. Excited to see how the size of these teams play a big role in this game today. Obviously, a much bigger roster for the Wright State Raiders, so we'll be interesting to see how the game progresses and how the fatigue of both teams factors into this game.
Yeah, but we're getting set here for a kickoff. It'll be Oakland receiving here to start the game as Wright State gets set for the kickoff. Back deep for the Raiders, for the Golden Grizzlies is their star player in Vincent Johns Jr. 3 touchdowns last week for himself, and to kick it away for the Wright State Raiders is unknown at the moment because he's not on the roster, but is number 17. And we're off. A little bit of a low kick, bouncer. Vincent has it. He'll go up towards the 30, cross the 30, up to the 35 where he is wrapped down. And we'll get this game started. So the quarterback for the Oakland Golden Grizzlies will come out. Bit of a, not your typical quarterback, Zach.
Yeah, he's a thicker guy. Excited to see how he attacks the game with his legs and hopefully can burn some guys over the top with his arms. So dual threat quarterback, great to see out here for the Golden Grizzlies.
Yeah, dual threat. I'm not sure if it does him justice. The Oakland University really prides itself on getting him involved in the run game, active in the run game, and really just going downhill. Rockne Jacobs is his name, number 28. He's getting his troops in order right now. He'll take a snap from Calvin Gibson, number 77, the center. He'll come out with one running back right behind him, and Nathaniel Cummins, number 21. He'll look over to the coaches, get the play there. He's got 2 receivers to his left. Vincent comes in motion. He'll come down towards the line of scrimmage, and Rockne goes up under center. He'll take the snap, hand it off, and a gain of about 1, maybe 2. Looks like Nathaniel Cummins on the carry.
Yeah, we're going to see that full house formation a lot for the Grizzlies today, bringing in those 2 guys in that double tight formation from the Dubs on both sides there. So going to see a lot of that triple option, old school style football from the boys today.
Yeah, don't expect too much passing either. We've got some decent wind here today, so ground and pound it will be for Jacobs and the crew of the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. So it'll be a 2nd and about 8 here, as Rockne will go up under center once again. Nathaniel Cummins in the backfield, but that really short backfield. Out to his left is Vincent. And he'll hand it off to Vincent on a little bit of a sweep. And Vincent breaks a couple tackles, and he's across midfield. Vincent on the way to the house. He's gone. Touchdown, Golden Grizzlies, flexing immediately.
Wow, great score for the Grizzlies there. Had him wrapped up in the backfield, was able to shed the tackle, break another one as he crosses the 45 line into enemy territory, and he was gone. Looking back, and there was no one to catch him. Vincent
Johns Jr. picking up right where he left off last week with those 3 scores. He's already got 1 here early today as Oakland is on the board quick in this one. 12:49 left, 6-0 Golden Grizzlies.
We saw that same wing T formation in the back there. Fake the handoff to the left back and gave it to the second one in the middle. So great to see him break that tackle there and get a hot start for the Golden Grizzlies here.
And on now for the extra point is Cole Podrukovitz. And he'll be waiting for the snap here. Snap's good. Holds good. Kick is up. And it's good. So Golden Grizzlies go up 7-0 early in this one. Did not take them long.
Super bright sign there. That's what the Golden Grizzlies are going to need to be in order to be sustainable today. They're going to need those quick drives because the simple math on both sides, a much bigger roster for the Wright State Raiders. So they're going to have to score quick and keep things quick and easy if they're going to want to stay in this game to keep that fatigue out of the hands of their team.
Wright State definitely has the advantage in the trenches when you look at the size that they have and the ability to rotate players. Oakland only with a 14-man roster, so a lot more difficult to keep fresh bodies out there. And then when they are able to use their speed and get to the edges, good things happen for them.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to pride themselves on those quick and flashy drives here today if the big fellas up front want to keep themselves in shape.
So we'll get organized here for Oakland's kickoff. It almost seems like it'd be starting the game as we only have 12:49 still to play. So a very quick drive for the Golden Grizzlies, 2:11. And the kickoff for the Golden Grizzlies will be Cole Pozdrakovitz once again. They'll get the troops in order.
We do have a standard college football kickoff here. We don't have the NFL one that they have set in stone now. So traditional kickoff for the Golden Grizzlies here.
Kick is away. It's a short one out towards the 35 where it's caught by a Wright State Raider. He'll bring it up, breaks one tackle, goes across midfield, and just gets dragged down by the shoelaces into plus territory at the Oakland Golden Grizzly 45-yard line.
Tough sign there. Definitely looked like a bit of a pooch kick, something that they designed. But we saw a much deeper kick on that extra point there. So definitely a pooch kick there that was designed by the Golden Grizzlies coaching staff.
And now Wright State will come out for their first offensive possession, looking to answer the Golden Grizzlies. They're 0-1 on the year with a loss to Michigan State. A close game, but just not able to get out with the win in the end. And the quarterback for Wright State Raiders will be Matthew Garassi Jr., number 10, third-year junior, 6 foot 180 from Cincinnati, Ohio. Excuse me, it's going to be Chad Swanson, actually. He'll step back. He'll fire one deep along the sideline into coverage, and it's overthrown, almost intercepted by the Golden Grizzlies. He was looking for Quamar Woods, and in coverage was a Golden Grizzly right there.
Great coverage there from Luke Stein on the deep end there. Looked like he was running the route for him, and he was with them stride for stride. So that's great to see. The big lefty steps back, Chad Swanson for the Raiders, and he was there every step of the way with them. So great sign there for the Golden Grizzlies staying on top of that offense.
Chad Swanson, a very experienced player, fifth-year plus senior, and a very tall guy as well. You want to talk about a bruiser, 6'4", 235 out of Dayton, Ohio. So the Wright State Raiders will come up. They'll be in the offset I. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, tight end on the left-hand side. Swanson will look it over. Here's a snap, fakes the handoff, and he's going to run it himself. Goes up the middle, through the gut, and he's got it first down. Maybe we'll see where they spot him. And they'll give him the first down.
Tough look there for the defense, sitting back in a cover 2 look, but with that fake screen out to his left side, he had those linebackers fleeing out, and he opened up a big gap in the middle of the field for him to run up for that first down.
So it'll be a 1st and 10 now with just under 12 minutes left here in the first quarter. Still 7-0 Golden Grizzlies. Swanson will come out again with 1 running back to his left-hand side, 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left with a tight end. He'll look it over, get some communication from his receivers. Defense in a cover 2 look. He'll fire to his left, to the stick, and breaks 1 tackle up past the first-yard marker, and he breaks another tackle. He's going, and he's shoved out of bounds at about the 12-yard line.
Grizzlies flat on that left side over there, got caught looking, and by the time he got off of that tackle, he was too late and had too much momentum across him on the other side, and he just couldn't break that tackle and bring him down.
He flicked one out to his left for about 8 yards, and a couple tackles broken by the Wright State Raider allows them to set up another first down here at the Oakland Golden Grizzly 15-yard line.
Looks like those Golden Grizzlies are going to be sticking in that 2 high safety look. Definitely seems to be their base defense so far for this game plan.
They don't want to allow anything over the top of them, but they need their players down because they know that they're undersized and they have to combat this great size of Wright State. So Swanson in the backfield now with 1 running back to his left, 3 receivers to the right. He'll step back, roll to his right, still looking downfield. He decides to stop, trying to throw the ball in the end zone, and it's caught for a touchdown by a sliding Wright State Raider. On that catch is number 15. He's not listed on the official roster, so we don't know his name, but a great catch by him sliding to the end zone, and a really good throw by Swanson to stop, pause, look, fake a defender, and get that in a very tight window.
Definitely a classic case of a scramble drill there. It's hard for a lefty to roll out to his right like that and make a throw, but he did with the defender on his face and somehow snuck it in there in front of those defenders on the back end in the end zone.
Really good throw by him. And now number 17 on to kick for the extra point. He kicks it, and it's up. And good. Great hold there by William Gleason.
There's a flag on the play here, so we'll check that with the referee.
It looks to possibly be on Wright State. The Wright State coach does not look happy back there. False start, Wright State. Or illegal formation, excuse me. So, we'll do it again.
Definitely your case there of too many guys lined up in the backfield, not enough guys on the line of scrimmage. So we'll have to retry that kick here, and coach isn't going to be happy with those alignment issues this early to start off that game.
So Wright State will back up 5 yards and have to retry the extra point. This time it'll be from the 7. We'll get the troops organized as William Gleason will get ready for the hold. Everybody's set. Here's the snap. Here's the kick. And it looks like it almost got blocked. Maybe a finger got on that, but nonetheless, it's up and through. And we have a tie ball game with 10:34 here left in the first quarter.
Real low kick there that I thought had a good chance to be blocked, but the defender just didn't lay out enough for it, but might have gotten a fingertip on it, but nonetheless, the kick is good, and we have a 7-7 ball game here with 10:34 to go.
Ball came out very flat. So for Oakland, they want to repeat the success they had on that first drive. 3 straight runs, and on that third play, a touchdown. So Oakland will get set up here now for the kickoff as Wright State looks to be already pretty much set. Oakland trots their troops out there. Deep back once again, as always, is Vincent Johns Jr., the star player for the Golden Grizzlies. Wright State's going to want to keep that ball away from him after he's already torched him once today.
Looking forward to see how a lot of our skill players line up here as well. We do have some skill players playing some unorthodox positions on both sides of the ball, so we're going to have to see how that plays a big factor in this game as the game progresses and that clock winds.
Oakland choosing to keep their quarterback in Rockney Jacobs out on defense, preserve him for offense only as he's a vital part to this team. Kick is up and away. Bit of a pooch kick, keeping it away from Vincent, and the ball is kind of muffed and rolling around, and finally the Golden Grizzlies get on top of it. Really a bit of a scary moment there.
Best case scenario for those Wright State Raider kickoff team there, kicking it over that second man and getting all the way back behind him and having a tough time getting organized with the ball in his hands back at our own 20-yard line here.
Ball kind of bounced at about the 25 and rolled back towards Luke Stein, who eventually got his paws on it, but not a clean kickoff for what the Golden Grizzlies were looking for in this one. So 10:30 left here, still 7-7 for each team. Oakland will get the troops organized. Rockney Jacobs back in there, and of course they'll have Vincent and Cummins out there with him. They'll come to approach the line. Center today is Calvin Gibson. And then at left tackle is Max Regnall. And then left guard is Alexander Rivera-Raben. Under center is Jacobs with one running back in the backfield. He'll hand it off to him, take it right up the gut, and he stood up strong by the Wright State Raiders. Right there immediately was Braden Swank, 6'3", 320, nose tackle for the Raiders.
Definitely going to be a common sight today. They've got some big guys in the middle on that Raiders defense, so it's going to be tough for those guys that are going both ways on that Grizzlies offensive line to stand up with those guys and keep their leverage underneath. When
you're mismatched this much in terms of size, is it beneficial to run still into tackles and try and wear these guys down, or is it better to try and get outside, out to the edges, and use your speed?
Yeah, traditionally you want to get them outside and stretch those guys out as much as you can. We see the hands on the hips for the 2 interior linemen on the defense, and that's something that you definitely want to see as the game moves on for the Golden Grizzlies.
So same formation. Jacobs under center with a running back right behind him, and he'll give a little jet around sweep to an Oakland Golden Grizzly, and he's gang tackled by Wright State Raiders. On the carry was DeMonte Thomas, and he got maybe a yard. So 3rd and long here for the Golden Grizzlies. Good luck.
Well, they did exactly what we thought they were going to do there, stretch it out wide, but we definitely need some more protection and some more coverage from those lead blockers there to give our guys an opportunity to get the sideline and get some speed going.
So Rockney Jacobs is a good thrower. He's labeled a dual threat quarterback. It'll be interesting to see here if they trust their offensive line enough to hold up against this Wright State Raiders D-line and give him time to throw the ball, or if we go with another run here. Nathaniel Cummins in the backfield. Vincent Johns Jr. all the way to the bottom of the formation on the outside. 1 receiver in the slot, and then 2 out to the right of Rockney Jacobs. Gets communication from his coach, checks the play. Didn't like what he saw, so they'll move it. Looks to be a cover 2 look for the Wright State Raiders. 4 down linemen, 3 backs, 2 high safeties. And it is a snap for Jacobs. He'll roll him back. Running away. Throws it up into quadruple coverage, and it's intercepted by the Raiders. An unadvised throw there by Jacobs. Threw it into 4-person coverage, 1 receiver, and the odds, my friend, are not in your favor there. So the Wright State Raiders will take over at the 25-yard line of the Golden Grizzlies.
Yeah, you said it, Drew. Definitely not the throw that you want to be making, scrambling out to your right there. We've got 1 receiver into the boundary, and he threw it up where there was 3 jerseys that were not in our favor. So coach isn't going to be happy about that one, but he's going to have to let him know that next time you need to eat that ball or throw it away because you need to live another day before you throw that ball to the other team.
And it looked like Lavelle Lyles was the person that intercepted that ball for the Wright State Raiders. So now the Raiders 1 for 1 so far today on their offensive possessions. They'll come out with Chad Swanson lined up at quarterback, and they'll look to repeat the success they had on that first drive. Really strong for them in the run game, and Swanson moving around really well in order to get that touchdown that they had. So he'll take the snap, steps back to throw, looks, scrambles to his right, still looking downfield, pointing the direction. He'll take off and run. He's got it up to the 25, and he'll scamper out of bounds at about the 20-yard line.
Yeah, number 5, he might be a big guy, but he's got some legs on him for sure. He was able to outrun a couple defenders there and stretch it out to the sideline. He really looks comfortable rolling out to his right, even though he's a left-handed quarterback, which is something we don't see very commonly nowadays.
I was trying to get the troops organized down there, but nobody open. Figured I'll take it off and do it myself. He'll look over to the sideline and get the call right now from his head coach as Oakland is looking for something to do to stop this Wright State offense. Other than that one play where they stopped them for about 1 yard, it has been Wright State gashing them every play as we've got a 2nd and 1 now here.
Sticking in that cover 2 defense look with 2 high safeties here. We've seen a lot of zone defense so far, so interesting to see if the Grizzlies will switch something up here and go to a man-to-man defense.
Swanson in the backfield with a running back that motions over to his right. That is D'Angelo Mills Jr. 2 receivers split out to the right, 2 out to the left. He'll look over, takes the snap, hands off to Mills. Mills up the gut, breaks 1 tackle, bounces to the left. He's got the first down and a little bit more. Down to about the 15-yard line goes Mills.
It's going to be tough for the Grizzlies to keep up with this offense for sure. They don't have the depth that these guys have on the other side of the ball, so if they want to hang in here, they're going to have to make tackles in the backfield and give their linebackers a little bit of a help when crossing the line of scrimmage.
The defensive coaching staff for the Golden Grizzlies is going to have to get creative today, mixing up looks, mixing up pressures, trying to get this Wright State Raiders team guessing, stay a step ahead as we get down to the 6-minute mark here in the first quarter. Still 7-7 the ball game, but Wright State threatening. It'll be 1st down and 10. Chad Swanson with a player to his left, 2 receivers out to the right, 2 to his left. They like that 2-and-2 look, Zach.
Yeah, that shotgun look's a great look if you want to spread out a cover 2 defense for sure. Well, interesting to see if they hit something over the middle.
They'll give a jet sweep pass. On the run goes a Wright State Raider, slips 1 tackle, and he's really wrapped up by Vincent. Ball comes out, and it's Oakland Grizzly football, but they'll say he's down. Yeah, Vincent Johns Jr. punched that ball out when he tackled the Raider in Tayon Mullins, but the refs will rule Mullins down before the ball came out.
Definitely the right call there, but interesting to see that jet sweep call against the cover 2 defense. Not exactly something you expect to see when you have a more laterally based defense and everything that you want to keep in front of you from a defensive standpoint. Interesting to see for sure. Exceptional
closing speed by Vincent Johns Jr., and just for him to get there, I know he was down, but punching that ball out on a tackle, great play by him.
That peanut punch, every coach is preaching it every day in practice.
Swanson now in shotgun, 1 running back to his right, trips to his left, and 1 receiver all the way to his right. He'll take the snap, throw a little bit of a quick screen, and it is wrapped up. Golden Grizzlies snuff that one out and shut it down. It'll be 3rd and long.
Great wrap-up there from Alexander Riviera-Rabin, getting back in the backfield, sitting down, strafing left to right, and making sure he wraps up low and drives him back.
That's back-to-back quick passes by Swanson to Tayon Mullins. Looking for some positive, but 1 goes for 2 yards, and that one went for -2. We're back to 3rd and 10 now.
This is unforeseen territory for both sides of the ball here, so interesting to see if the Golden Grizzlies want to mix anything up on defense and what kind of pass that the Raiders are going to bring out of their hat here on this 3rd and 10.
With Swanson running around the way he does, do you mix up some pressure here? Maybe bring a corner or a backer?
Yeah, you definitely want to bring a corner here on that right side. He scrambled out to his right a lot, and we've definitely held up on the left side of the defensive line there. So we want to make sure that getting away to his right is something we take away from him for sure.
2 high safety looks still here, would you say?
Yes, absolutely.
And Swanson will pitch it to his right, and Wright State will cut it upfield and down to the 10-yard line, and it'll depend on the spot.
Looks like they're going to call him
forward. And they'll call him 4th. He'll pick up 8. So it'll be 4th and 2 for the Raiders. On the carry was Ryan Crampton. And he got a nice chunk of it back. But you think if you're gonna run the ball on 3rd and 10, you know you're going for it on 4th down.
Absolutely.
Swanson in shotgun, 1 running back to his left. He'll roll out to his left, fake the pitch, and pitch it eventually to the running back in Ryan Campton. He'll take it in for 6, and it's now 13-7. in favor of the Raiders. 3:31 left here in the first quarter.
Yeah, we just saw a game of cat and mouse there, Drew, on that 3rd and long there. They ran that play out to the right as we expected, and no corner blitz there from the defense, so they ran the speed option out there, tossed it, got down to about 8 yards, and then ran the exact same play on the backside there and let it go for a touchdown.
So it'll be 17 for the Wright State Raiders. Once again, to kick the ball, holding will be William Gleason. Everybody will look to get set here. Snaps up. Good snap. Good hold. Kick is no good. Missed it a little bit right, it looks like, from here.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's definitely going to be something that the Golden Grizzlies want to keep in mind here with the big quarterback as the Raiders have on offense. When you're sitting down on that speed option, you got to make sure that everyone's staying aligned, that gaps are full of integrity there, and everyone needs to do their job, as a lot of coaches preach. So sticking on your guy and maintaining gap schemes is going to be super important moving forward for the Golden Grizzlies if they want to stay in this game.
And it looked like a couple of the linebackers and corners might have missed a couple tackles there. They had a chance to get him down, even though he picked up that first down, but he didn't have to have a touchdown necessarily.
Absolutely. As we've seen so far, a big quarterback at 6'3", 235 as the Raiders have, you're going to need 1 or 2 guys to get him there, but it's definitely going to need more than a shove to get him down there, and we're going to have someone on the other guy if they're going to keep running that speed option as we've seen so far.
Yeah, so now on the kickoff, Oakland decides to take out Vincent Johns Jr. for this kickoff because they know Wright State is not going to kick anywhere near him. He is electric with the ball in his hands.
He is. Definitely worth noting that we switched up our coverage back here, too, on how we're going to receive this kick. We've got 1 guy back deep rather than 2, and I think we're switching to a look that'll defend a little better against that pooch kick that they've seen us a couple times so far.
See if they go with it. Ball's up, and this one they'll kick it pooch towards the sideline once again. It'll be fielded by Luke again. He'll take it up to the 35. He'll tightrope the tie line out of bounds at about the 40.
Exact same kick that they did before, and they had it exactly where they wanted to, but since we adjusted on the back end there, we had 3 guys back deep rather than 1, and we were able to pick that up there with one of our upbacks and actually get up to about the 35 or 40-yard line here. Great look for the Golden Grizzlies.
Luke Stein, number 16, the one that picked that ball up off the skip. He'll scamper out of bounds officially at the 39-yard line. Oakland will look to get back to business on offense. What do they have to do differently here?
Well, they're going to need to get some movement up front on the offensive line. Offensive line's been out there for quite a while now with some guys going both ways, but we definitely need to maintain some leverage here and stretch the ball out wide if we're going to want to create some chunk plays on the ground.
And look at this. We've got maybe a bit of a wildcat formation with Johns Jr. in at quarterback as he sends in motion Rob Miller. So he's back there by himself with 1 running back behind him. He'll fake the handoff, take it himself, cut it up, and he's tackled right away by a group of Wright State Raiders. So maybe a little bit of trickery there for the Golden Grizzlies didn't come to fruition.
Looked like it a little bit. I think we had a misassignment up front. Either the running back was aligned incorrectly, but we faked the handoff to the exact same side that we ran it to on the backside there. So didn't do a whole lot with the defender there. They had 1 guy to cover both of our guys in the same spot, so that's definitely something we need to clean up on the sideline before our next go.
And it looks like Johns Jr. is getting the call from the coaches. He's delivering it back to the team, so maybe they're keeping him in there at quarterback, expecting that if they're going to have to run the ball all day, he gives them their best chance to gain positive yards as it's 2nd and 10.
Absolutely. We need to see Rockney Jacobs out there on the sideline, so keeping the same personnel and keeping it simple.
Johns takes the handoff. He'll fake the handoff once again here, and he'll be wrapped up after a gain of about 1.5, maybe 2 if he's lucky.
Yeah, the Golden Grizzlies are going to be in a very troublesome position here if they can't get some chunk plays going, so 3rd and long here, but if they want to hang with this big physical Raiders defense, they're going to have to get some big plays on the ground or get the ball in the air soon.
What's the difference between the first drive where they had that success running the ball and where they're at now? Is it something Wright State did? Is it something Oakland's doing, not doing? What's the difference?
I think the biggest difference that we've seen so far, pretty simply, is the fatigue we've seen up front from our offensive line. I don't see any hands on the hips from the Raiders D-line there, but a lot of our guys that are in the huddle getting the play call right now from Rodney Jacobs are tired and they're gassed. So we're going to need a big play on the ground here if we're going to need to be sustained on this drive.
So an obvious passing situation now as it looks to be 3rd and 8, 7-13 in favor of the Wright State Raiders. $1:20 left in the first quarter here. Jacobs takes the pass. He'll drop back, ducks underneath the tackle. He'll scamper up to get out of bounds, picks up the first down, lowers the shoulder, and it's a first down. Golden Grizzlies got up to midfield. Rockney Jacobs lower in the boom.
And that's where you see that dual threat quarterback coming in action, slips under 1 tackle from his left tackle, gets upfield, and there's nothing but green grass ahead of him for that first down stake.
So Oakland will get back to business now here, 1st and 10 at midfield. looking to get in the end zone to tie this one up. 48 seconds left here in the first quarter as Johns Jr. will come out of the game and Jacobs will go in. He'll give the play call to his linemen and his quartet of guys. Will break the huddle and they'll come up now. Jacobs with Nathaniel Cummins at running back, 2 receivers to his left, 1 tight end, 1 receiver to his right. He's under center with Cummins directly behind him. He'll take the snap. He'll fake the handoff and give it around to the jet sweep. Number 2, as he'll bring it up to about the 46-yard line. Number 2 on that play is DeMonte Thomas.
And they ran that same thing backside. They had the full house in the backfield, faked it to the first and second guy behind him, and let it off with the third with 2 lead blockers in front of him. Unfortunate that he couldn't get a whole lot of real estate, but definitely a brighter sign from our offensive line, getting some blocks outside and getting some people in front of him.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is the exact play that they did score on earlier. They just ran it with Johns Jr. to the opposite side.
Absolutely, opposite side, and he broke 1 tackle, which we didn't on that play. But, yeah, broke that 1 tackle, got off of the jersey, and there was nothing but green grass in front of him, and he was able to show that speed off and get in the end zone for a touchdown.
And that is going to do it for the first quarter here of the Oakland University versus Wright State Raider football game. We'll take a quick break and be back shortly with the start of the second quarter. And we're back at the Oakland University multi-complex field, as we'll call it. We have track here, we have lacrosse, we have soccer. We've got it all here. Right now, it's football.
Absolutely. Best of all here, and we're ready to go at the 45-yard line as the team switch sides of the field.
So Rockney Jacobs under center right now with 3 guys in the backfield behind him. You wonder what they're going to do here. They'll fake one handoff to the fullback, and they will give it to the fullback, and he'll muscle and rumble up to about the 37-yard line.
Yeah, got out wide there with a little bit of a misdirection up front, so it's a great sign if we're seeing a lot of those defensive linemen on the ground in the backfield. So less guys ahead of you to break a tackle, and he was able to get a first down there for the Golden Grizzlies.
When you've got Jacobs under center and then 3 receiver or running backs behind him, you really don't know who's getting the ball, do you?
No, it's definitely tough, but it's a familiar sight for both of these teams. Both of the defenses have seen this in practice every week going against the offenses. So 2 dual-threat quarterbacks, so nothing that the defenses haven't seen before, haven't been accustomed to so far this season.
Yep, so Jacobs will stay in there. John's in there as well. Just not at quarterback at the moment. Jacobs will move up under center. John split out to his left. 1 running back in the backfield in Cummins. You look for maybe that play that they ran earlier with Johns. Jacobs will give it once again up to Cummins. Cummins will make 1 cut back, and he'll get maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Really good penetration there by the Wright State Raiders.
Almost a power concept there with the backside tackle pulling instead of the guard. So interesting to see how the coaching staff for the Golden Grizzlies is mixing up here against that big physical defensive line for Wright State.
Yeah, Wright State definitely has the size on the line, so Oakland is really running at them, trying to get them to wear down, as we see teams do quite often. I do see some hands on hips for the Raiders.
Yeah, ultimately that's your goal. Gash them out as long as you can, but you're going to have to pick 2 strategies. You either got to gash them up front, slow drives, and maintain your composure, and be the more conditioned person. You got to beat them over the top and get those quick drive touchdowns.
13 minutes left here in the second quarter. 7-13 is our score. Jacobs under center. Nathaniel behind him. Handoff to Johns. Johns setting up his blocks, forces it to the edge. We got a flag coming in. Looks like a hold, as that'll be coming back. 2nd and 10, going nowhere.
Yeah, really nowhere to go there. Even though Johns is probably the best athlete on the field for both sides of the ball, he's got to have some people in front of him setting him up with blocks, but wasn't a whole lot there. Able to shed a couple tackles, but ultimately brought down for a loss.
Good patient running by Johns, waiting for his blocks to set up. The unfortunate side for him is just they never got set up.
Absolutely. You said it.
So we'll get the call here from our referee today. Still waiting, and we have a holding on offense.
Definitely a drive killer there for the Golden Grizzlies with the offense that they're running with this dual threat quarterback and the the triple option in the backfield. It's definitely going to be pretty tough to make up some ground here if they face a 2nd and 20, it appears to be.
Yeah, so Oakland Grizzlies will go back 10 yards. It'll be 2nd and 20 now from the Wright State Raider 48-yard line. Jacobs gets the call. He'll head back to the huddle, give the call to his guys. There is no helmet communication here in club football, and a lot of teams don't use signals.
And they appear to be in the shotgun here, hopefully trying to spread the ball downfield a little bit and create some opportunities for the guys out wide.
Yep, Jacobs with one running back and Cummins to his right, 2 receivers to his left, 2 to his right as well. He'll take the snap, drop back. He's getting pressured immediately. They're setting up a screen, and it's blown up by the Raiders. They saw through that the whole time. DeMonte Thomas gets blasted.
Yeah, the screen was set up perfectly there. They got the defensive line in the backfield completely fooled. Offensive line was able to rip through, but the unfortunate thing is they let the safety come right through and smack Johns Jr. in the backfield there, and that's definitely not something you want to see for a screen. You want to get those big bodies out in front. You want to get them moving, and you want to set up some blocks. It's ultimately the goal there, but they got the first part done. Couldn't execute the full play, though.
Lavelle Lyles coming in to lay the boom. The freshman, 190, 6'1", came in and just laid the boom as we're going to get a timeout here. Oakland will use their first timeout. 11:48 here in the first quarter, 7-13 in favor of the Raiders. On that play, Oakland did a really good job of selling the fake. All of the linemen came right at Jacobs, but nobody picked up Lyles.
Absolutely. The ball was floated a little bit there. You saw him go up with one hand to grab that ball on the screen, which is definitely not something that you want to see. But we had some blockers out in front, but there was nobody pick up that hot guy that came in and smoked him.
Yeah, so Oakland now with 3rd and super long. Might as well start a new zip code from where the line of scrimmage to the first down marker is.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see. So we talk about the box a lot and how you want to spread out a defense, but unfortunately with the base offense that the Golden Grizzlies run, it involves a lot of 3-4 guys in the backfield, faking one and sweeping stuff with some runners out in front to block for you, but it's definitely been tough to look at so far. So interesting to see if they stick to that shotgun formation more and try to spread out that Raiders defense to hit something in stride and along the numbers of the hashes.
Yeah, and the passing game for them really hasn't worked out too well. They've had a couple completions, but for very minimal yards, and then they had the pick. You're at 3rd and maybe 18, 19 here. Do you go with the pass, or do you just punt it, or do you run it and just play field position game?
Yeah, but at this point, I think we don't have much of a choice other than to pass the ball. We haven't seen a whole lot from them so far, so interesting to see what they bust out here on 3rd and long for the Golden Grizzlies on this big play.
Yep, so Jacobs in the shotgun, 2 receivers to his right, 2 to his left, most notably Johns Jr. to his left, Cummins in the backfield with him. He'll take the snap, drop back. They're going another screen to Cummins, and look who's coming up. Once again, Lyles, as he gets the first contact, slows Cummins, and then the Wright State Raider gang tackling finishes the job.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be some sort of misassignment there. We had the running back slipping out to the right for that screen, but his blockers were looking the other way and heading the other direction. So not exactly something you want to see from a coach, or definitely in that running back position where you have 2 guys coming at you and no one in front of you to protect you on that.
And the offense is staying on the field in 4th and 18. Interesting play call here, but I think someone is taking a page out of Dan Campbell's book.
Yeah, we're seeing a one-eye look here. Oh, they drop back into 2, so try and hit something around the deep sideline or a post across the middle if they want to have any chances.
Jacobs takes a snap. Oh, and he'll do a little quick punt.
And he pooch kicks.
He'll pooch kick it from the shotgun. That ball will roll all the way down. It'll hit the pylon, and it'll be out at the 1.
Wow.
What a kick. It bounces out of bounds at the 1-yard line, hits the pylon. What a kick from Jacobs.
Unfortunately, that's the incorrect call from the refs there. The ball hit the pylon, so it should be a touchback, but the Golden Grizzlies definitely aren't going to complain about sticking them on the 1-inch line for field position here.
If it hits the white chalk and then the pylon, is it still a touchback?
No, if it hits the pylon first and bounces out, which is the case that we saw here, it should be a touchback, but definitely the ref has some other ideas here, putting the ball on the 1-yard line for Golden Grizzlies defense.
They're ruling that I think it hit the white chalk first.
Yeah, it's interesting. I could be wrong. From my eyes, it looked like it saw the pylon first, but nonetheless, great field position here for the Golden Grizzlies defense to try and stop them in their own territory here, even get a safety.
And a great kick.
Absolutely. It was a low burner, just kind of rolling up the right sideline there. Perfect that you want to see coffin corner textbook for the Golden Grizzlies punter.
Yeah, so Swanson will come back out now with his back in his own end zone. 1 running back to his right, receiver out to his left, and 1 receiver out to his right. Extra lineman and tight ends there. He'll just hand it off, try and get what they can. The Raiders will get a couple yards, and they'll get first down and more. Up about the 15-yard line goes Ryan Crampton.
So what we're seeing from the Golden Grizzlies so far is what you see very often. A lot of times when coaches don't have the biggest physical guys up front, to put those 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers in the box that we're seeing from Oakland's football team so far. And something's going to have to change, though. They're going to have to move some guys up front and maybe stick to a one high look and trust that deep safety. Maybe John's back there, but something has to change if they're going to want to stop these guys in the run game because they're giving up big chunks on the ground consistently.
Yep, and they go back to that 4-3 look. It looks like one of their safeties comes up to the ball now. Corners press up as well. John's coming down low. Is this a cover 0?
It appears to be. Maybe one high look back here as number 9 drops back.
He'll drop out of it. And Swanson on the run here, rolling out to his left. He'll tuck it back up, cut back up, get about 4 yards on that carry. So we'll get about 2nd and 6 here. 9:28 left in the second quarter. 7-13 in favor of the Raiders.
We're definitely seeing a pick your poison here from the Raiders offense here. They're telling them you can either come down and we're going to run it right down your throat and stretch something out wide and make your big guys that might be a little tired up front, make some tackles in the open field, which is definitely not their comfort zone, and it's a harder play for them to make. Or we're going to sync it up and we're going to stretch it out and we're going to throw it over your head. So interesting to see how it progresses as this game moves on.
Swanson in the shotgun with Ryan Crampton split to his left. 2 receivers to his left, one of which being a tight end, and then 2 receivers to his right as well. Swanson looking over the coverage, getting communication, takes the snap. He'll drop back, looking to his left, spins, rolls to his right, going way back, going the opposite way. He goes all the way into his own end zone, rolls up forward, throws the ball, and it's short of his intended target on the play in William Gleason. All I'm going to say is, Swanson, be careful.
Absolutely, yeah. Max Recknagel put some pressure on him early off that edge and had him spinning back there, forced him to make a pretty ill-advised throw, and it was about 5-10 yards short of the receiver. So great contain there from number 44, the defensive end, Max Recknagel.
I mean, they're at the 21-yard line, and he went all the way back into the end zone.
Yeah, he was pushing back pretty far, but that just shows you the confidence the quarterback has in his legs and his ability to extend plays outside of the pocket.
So he'll come up now into the shotgun. 1 running back split to his left, 2 receivers out to the left as well, and then 2 receivers to his right. They like that 2-and-2 personnel.
They do, yeah. It's great against that cover 2 defense.
Swanson, quick throw to the sticks, and a first down for the Wright State Raiders. Tackled, it was Samuel Witten on the catch, tackled by a group of Golden Grizzlies.
Great tackle there from the safety that came up hot off his deep half, but we're definitely going to need to see some better coverage from the linebackers in this defense.
Looked like Alexander Rivera-Rabin on the tackle, number 5. It looks like some miscommunication here by the Oakland Golden Grizzly defense as they're getting the call from their coach. Good thing that the Wright State Raiders aren't ready as they approach the line now. 1st and 10, 7:16 left.
We're going to see a lot more of that base defense. Haven't seen a whole lot of things other than cover 2 for the Oakland defense here, so interesting to see if they want to switch it up or stick to what they know best.
Looks like 5 guys up at the line of scrimmage. They'll send them all. Handoff by the Raiders. Cutting up field goes number 0 in Ryan Crampton, and he'll get about 7 on the play, maybe 6.
And number 52, Mason Moore, was blocking about 20 yards downfield there for the Raiders. So interesting to see the effort and the discipline that these Raiders offense has. These offensive linemen are taking pride in blocking, and it's showing with the running results on the ground.
He'll pick up 7 on that run, so it'll be 2nd and 3. Oakland got to look to do something here, change up something defensively. They are getting gashed in the run game. And once again, Wright State will come out with that 2-and-2 personnel as they send a guy in motion right now. And Lavelle Lyles
splits out the trips to his left, running back on his backside of the boundary here.
Swanson in the shotgun. He'll take the snap, look over to his left, works through his progressions back to his right. He'll scramble to his right, tries to juke one guy, gets to the edge, stretches for the marker, and it doesn't look like he's able to get there completely. Got back to maybe the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, some more great coverage there from Max Recknagel on the backside there, number 44. Sitting down with that quarterback and making sure that his legs aren't going to be a threat and pushes him out wide and use the sideline to his advantage. Very smart play from number 44 there on that.
Yep, he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, maybe picking up a half yard. So a situation where most teams would throw the ball, but with Wright State's ability to run the football today, you got to think they probably go with a run.
Yeah, for sure. Not too long of a play here, of a drive here so far, but did see some of the guys up front on both sides of the ball a little tired, so I anticipate 2 runs here, but interesting to see if they want to run that speed option back against the other side again.
Wright State And Swanson in the shotgun. He'll roll out to his right, and he'll take it himself, and he'll get up to the first down, and he's got the first down.
And there was that back play speed option. Saw it coming, and definitely going to need to make an adjustment. And the defense, that's something where they have to be communicating, right? They have to be watch this. And we're going to have to see the linebackers there making the defensive line aware, making the corners aware of that backside speed option that we've seen multiple times here. And if me and you are able to see it up here, Drew, they're definitely able to see it down on the field. So got to be aware of that and be more communicative moving forward and make sure that everyone's aware of what could be coming.
Yeah, every time that Swanson gets the snap with a running back to his left or right, and once he starts rolling that way with the running back, you know exactly what the play is. Oakland has got to be on the same page and make the stop there.
Number 10 here checks into the game for the Raiders here. Quarterback change. Interesting to see.
Yeah, you wonder if Swanson maybe got a little banged up on that play. He did get tackled pretty hard, as we'll see a handoff here by the Wright State Raiders, and that'll go absolutely nowhere. Great tackle there for the Golden Grizzlies. And the weather starts to play a bit of a factor here. A little bit of rain makes it probably a little harder for these teams to throw the ball. We'll see if they change anything, but I don't think it really will because we've seen a ground and pound game, Zach.
Yeah, for sure. I think you said it, Drew. It's been a lot of stuff on the ground here. Haven't seen many take a chance with the wet ball. They're just going to keep pounding it on the ground and do everything that's worked for them. Looks right, got him crossing over the middle, steps up, rolling out to his right, and he's brought down for about a 3-yard gain on the play. Great coverage from the linebackers there, sitting in that zone defense and coming up and making a great tackle. Have a Golden Grizzly down on the field here. Looks to be a skill position player here, shaking up a little bit. Training staff is going to come out and check on him.
Yep, can't exactly see who it is from here, and we apologize if the stream cut out there for a minute or so. We had a bit of technical issues on our side, but nonetheless, as he said, we have a Oakland Golden Grizzly down on the field. He looks to be okay as he gets up and he gets back down, maybe a bit of a stinger.
Clover Watson, the fourth, looks to be okay. The true freshman here out making plays for the Golden Grizzlies, making his way back to the sideline. Does look like he's going to be okay, but definitely a darker sign for a 14-man roster that the Oakland University football team is dealing with here today.
Yeah, if you lose people for Oakland, it's dangerous.
It is. It's very dangerous. It's something you see in pickup basketball, right? If one guy goes down, then you're left shorthanded, and in this situation, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. You don't have a backup or definitely not a third-string guy here in club football. So going to be interesting to see who steps up in that role, but he appears to be good and on the sideline, shaking up a little bit, but he'll be fine, and he'll be back in the game shortly, I assume.
Probably just a little bit of an ankle roll or something.
Yeah, but that was a great sign for the Golden Grizzlies there. We haven't been able to stop that quarterback scramble, but when he stepped up and got through the defense in the heart of the defense, which is something a lot of coaches coach the quarterback to do, to step up and not roll out. He did that there, but linebackers were assigned and sat down in that zone coverage to make the tackle.
Swanson in here for the Wright State Raiders with Ryan Crampton to his left, trips to his left as well with one out to the top on his right. One goes, slot receiver goes in motion left to right. Swanson takes a snap, fires to his right, and a good catch there by number 1 and Jackson Smith. And that'll be a first down for the Raiders. 2:40 left here in the first half. You think that Wright State might be using a little bit of tempo coming up here soon.
Yeah, for sure. You can only run the ball on the ground so much and be able to conserve so much of the clock there. But sticking in a huddle here, definitely interesting to see. Maybe they don't have the most confidence in their communication with their signs. So just giving the stuff to the big fellas up front, the receivers out wide that they know, and letting the quarterback be the translator for the rest.
Yeah, so Swanson here now with 2:12 left in the backfield. You got one running back out to his left. Slot receiver comes in motion. We'll have trips to his right, one to the bottom on his left. He'll take it, hand it off, though, and out goes number 0 for the Wright State Raiders. He cuts it up, cuts it back, and that is Ryan Crampton up to the 25-yard line as clock ticks down under $2 here left in the first half.
We saw both of the defensive ends there make a switch on both sides very late, so it tells you that the the base defense for the Oakland University football team here is strength assigned, right? So they have one guy that's assigned to the strong side of the defense, usually the tight end side, not necessarily the side of the field, and they made that change too late, and it cost them with about 15 yards on the ground there.
Swanson now in shotgun, Crampton to his right. He'll hand it off to Crampton. Crampton up over left guard, and he'll be tackled down at about the 30-yard line, maybe 31, as we get down to $1:20 left here in the second quarter. And timeout will be called.
Absolutely the ideal situation there for the Golden Grizzlies defense, keeping everything in front of them in that cover 2 zone defense base look that they've been sitting in so far. So a bright sign for sure. And if you're giving up 1 or 2 on the ground, then that's definitely the way to go if you want to make this offense use timeouts and get into that half down 7-13.
Yeah, definitely. So first timeout here for the Wright State Raiders, and still 7-13 with $1:16 left here in the first half of this game. Oakland really needs to get a stop here because Wright State gets that ball first in the second half, and if they score here, they come out and score again. This game is a whole different story.
Yeah, they need to stop them here. I think they're warming up in that base defense a little bit, probably making some adjustments on the sideline with some keys that they need to be sticking to, but it's worked so far. I don't think we're going to see them switch up into any other looks. We did see them step down one time and break more in the run and have those safeties' eyes in the backfield a little more, but interesting to see there, and we'll stick in that cover 2 defense, but that's going to be real key moving forward if we're going to be able to keep everything in front of them as we've done so far and limit those plays to 5 yards or less in this situation.
And the situation right now helps the Golden Grizzlies a little bit because Wright State's not going to run it as much as they have been earlier. They're going to have to throw the ball.
I think we have to worry about that too much with the 40-yard line.
As Swanson rolls out to his left, flag.
30-yard line, but there is a flag in the backfield. We'll check that with the referee here.
Sorry about the technical. But there was an interception by the Golden Grizzlies at the 30-yard line, the exact play that they needed, but a flag in the backfield. We'll check that first.
I do believe that flag is going to be a hold as he rolls. 3 defensive linemen chasing onto him, reaching at that jersey and pulling out a little bit, so it's going to be Golden Grizzlies ball, which it is. Golden Grizzlies ball at the 29-yard line. Very interesting to see here if they're going to try and push the ball down the field with $1:03 left on the clock here, down 7-13. Last thing you want to do is get the ball back to the other team here. So I think we're going to see him stick to the ground here, maybe try and pull one out of the hat that we haven't showed him thus far and pull something out here where we're going to be able to push the ball downfield and get a big play on the ground.
Yep, so interesting to see if Oakland elects to try and score something here. A minute left, 7-13. They could go into this half with the lead. Rockney Jones under center. He'll hand it off, fake the handoff to Vincent John Jr., and he'll hand it off instead to
And he reverses field.
Thomas.
He cuts it up.
And Thomas is running all over the place. He cuts it up. He's through up to midfield. He went all the way left, got stuffed, turned back around right, and got all the way to midfield. What a run by Thomas.
Excellent play there from Thomas. Nothing left, nothing doing on his left side there, and he cuts it back, gets a couple blockers on his backside, and that's something you see that kills teams a lot with that reverse. They run it back. There's blockers left over there that are jogging at the end of the play, and it showed up big for him on that run there.
Yep, so now Jones under center. He'll drop back in the shotgun, fire one up across the middle, and he's got Thomas across the middle as he gets leveled to the ground. But here come the Golden Grizzlies. A great throw from Jones over the middle to Thomas.
Got him back there in that dig route there. Great throw from Jacobs there, pushing that ball downfield. Now they're at the appears to be 37-yard line of the Raiders here, but we have a down guy for the Raiders defensive line here.
It looks to be big number 77, the nose tackle for the Raiders. That would be Carter Mansell, 6'3", 300-pounder. He has been a run stuffer today. Him and his partner, Braden Swank, in the middle of the line. And that would be a huge loss for the Raiders.
Yeah, for sure. He's their run stuffer up front. He's looking to take up a gap or two. So, especially against an undersized offense that the Golden Grizzlies have here today, that's someone you don't want to lose and someone you hope is just cramping in this situation, which it appears to be as they're stretching out that right hamstring.
Yep, Cart comes out just in case they need something as he rolls up to his feet, and looks like he'll be able to walk this one off.
Yeah, he's jogging off. Great sign there for the Raiders defense. We're glad he's okay, and we're ready to get back to some action here with 34 seconds left to go in this first half here, second quarter.
Is that gives Oakland a free timeout.
It does, for sure, yeah. So gives them a second to think about what play they're going to do, and and see if they want to draw something up deep here. They're going to stick to the stuff on the ground that they know best. Very good sign there if they were able to push the ball downfield and pick up 20 yards in the air. Is that something we haven't seen from Jacobs so far? We've seen his dual threat show off in the running game, but not a whole lot in the passing game here. So great sign for the Golden Grizzlies offense.
Jacobs in shotgun with Cummins behind him. He'll take the snap, drop back, quick fire to his left. Ball tipped up in the air. It's intercepted by the Raiders. What a turn of events. Holy smokes. We go from interception to big play to interception. Where is this game going other than the Matrix?
And that's what I brought up before. Definitely not something we want to see there. We don't want to give the ball back to the other team and get a little greedy at this end of the half. So that's where Coach starts to kick himself and think about, should we have just gone into the half and taken our deficit, cut our losses? But nonetheless, here we have a 1st down and 10 at the Raiders' 39-yard line. So we'll see if they want to try anything with 20 seconds left or if they're going to be conservative and learn from the Golden Grizzlies lesson.
And that's Logan Evans, the third-year junior, on the tipped it up in the air, and he caught it himself. What a play for that young man today.
From the defensive line position, too. He's at defensive end, sticks his big paw up in the air, gets a hand on it, has the eye-hand coordination and the awareness to get up and get that ball and bring it down there for the Raiders defense. So great play over there.
19 seconds left here in the first half, and we'll get another timeout by the Oakland Golden Grizzlies, their second of the half. And so on that play, is that an issue by Jacobs? Is it an issue by the left tackle and Max Regnal for letting him get back into the backfield, or is it just a great play by Evans?
Well, nonetheless, it is a great play by Evans, having the awareness to keep his eyes up and keep him on the quarterback there and know where he is on the field, right? Understand it's a passing situation. It's definitely going to be a drop back. Wants to keep his eyes up on the quarterback and see what's going on. And some coaches will blame that a little bit on the quarterback and say you've got to be aware, you've got to step back, you've got to use your footwork that you practice all week, training, everything else. And then other quarterbacks will say, it's my responsibility to get the ball to him, but it's not my responsibility to keep the hands down at the defensive line. So very arguable topic there, but nonetheless, great play by the defensive end there for the Raiders.
Yeah, not the way that Rockney Jacobs wanted to end the first half after a great play over the middle to DeMonte Thomas, and they were in really good position to possibly go into this half with some more points on the board. But nonetheless, they're going to stick at 7, assuming no more score here in the final 19 seconds. And now Swanson will get his troops in order, and they'll come to the line and get set here. 1st and 10 at the 39-yard line for the Wright State Raiders in minus territory. Some deep players for the Golden Grizzlies, not allowing anything to go over their heads.
Absolutely. Smart play from the Raiders from the Golden Grizzlies defense here,
Swanson back all kinds of time. He'll roll out to his right, and he's being chased by the Golden Grizzlies, but they can't get there in time, and he'll scamper out of bounds, eventually forced out of bounds by Alexander Waugh, the freshman from Oak Park, Michigan.
Very unfortunate there if you're number 31, Alexander Waugh, when you've got a guy that's about twice your size running at you and wanted to stretch that ball out downfield. Wanted to hit his legs a little bit and bring him down, stick to where his center of gravity is and hit him below that. But unfortunate there. Got him out of bounds where he needed to and just hoping to avoid any big play opportunities here because we're assuming that the Raiders don't have the field goal ability to kick a 35, 40, 50-yarder here.
Yep, and Wright State will use their second timeout of this half, so one remaining for each team now. Oakland going to have to look on defense to craft something up to keep them away from, you would assume that the field goal range, based on what we've seen from their kicker, would it be about the 15, maybe the 20-yard line if they're lucky?
Yeah, I think 20, you're definitely pushing it, considering where the extra point is that he made one early and missed one. I think that their comfort zone is probably 10 and inside, but interesting to see if they want to stretch it out to the 15, but definitely worth noting that last play is definitely a win for the Golden Grizzlies, right? Only giving up about 15, 20 yards there and getting them at your 49-yard line, not far into your territory at all, but took 9 seconds off the play clock, right? So
isn't that great?
Bled it halfway down, only picked up about 15 yards, but took 10 seconds, right?
Isn't that crazy to say that a 15-yard play was a win for the defense?
You know, it is, and a lot of defensive coordinators won't agree with me on the stat sheet, but situational awareness, great play for the Grizzlies there, and they're going to be okay to end this half, it appears.
So Swanson will be in the shotgun now with, it looks to be Crampton to his left, 2 receivers to his left, 2 receivers to his right. He'll drop back. He'll fire the ball out to the sticks, and it's dropped. Wright State had a really good catch right there, a chance for another quick play that could have gotten them in the field goal range, but nonetheless, it was dropped by Tunyon Mullins. So 5 seconds left here. You think just probably Hail Mary at this point?
Well, it's interesting to see, and it's great that you note that because last week, Johns Jr. in this exact same situation had a 107-yard pick six returned in the end of the half there when the opposing team tried to throw up a Hail Mary for the Lansing Lightning. So looks like they're going to take a knee here and cut their losses and just go into the half up 13-7.
You would think that they probably read the scouting report and saw what Johns Jr. did last weekend, as a team will take one of the teams will take their final timeout here. Looks to be the Wright State Raiders, but Johns, they read the scouting report and saw, guy took a 107-yard pick six on a Hail Mary back to the house. We probably shouldn't do that this week.
I mean, so far from what we've seen, he's probably 75% of their scouting report, right? I mean, this guy's been all over the field, definitely an athlete. Great to see here that they've got this guy and they've got this X factor on their offense and their defense, but for sure someone that you want to throw away from. You want to have his number in your eyes at all time. You want to know where he is in the back of your head, and you want to run stuff away from the guy, right? So he's brought up some great tackles and he's made some great plays, and he's definitely not a guy that you want to throw around because we know how great he is with the ball in his hands, and he's great at making those contested catches as well, as we saw from a 107-yard touchdown return from an interception last week.
We experienced it for ourselves on the second play of the game when he took it to the house on that about a 50-yard run.
Yeah, for sure. So if he wasn't on the scouting report before the game, he was definitely on it after that first drive. But a lot of stagnant offense from the Golden Grizzlies so far. So they're going to have to pick things up in the second half if they want to move the ball forward.
So Oakland Grizzlies have about 5 guys deep, 2 of them at the 20-yard line, and then 3 of them at the 20-yard line, and then 2 more at the 30. They're not going to allow anything over their heads. It'll be interesting to see if the Wright State Raiders actually throw the ball here, as they are lined up to do it with 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right, 1 running back in the backfield. And they will throw it. Swanson throws a quick little, almost a screen, and that ball's going nowhere. And he's going to pitch it up in the air. Ball's up, and eventually a Wright State Raider falls on it. Interesting play there by number 6 in Caden Gibbs. Had the ball, just threw it behind his head. Not exactly sure what he was thinking. That could end terribly.
Yeah, Gibbs is going to hear it from the coaches in the locker room for sure. He's trying to be a hero ball a little bit there, and that's not something you want to see when you're up 13-7 and you're giving up the ball on the 50-yard line last play of the half. Absolutely no reason to try and throw the ball up there and score a touchdown, right? You want to get your ball to your playmakers and see if they can make a play in space, make someone miss, and extend that ball downfield and hopefully make something happen, fingers crossed, right? But never a situation where you want to throw the ball and put it in jeopardy of turning it over.
Yeah, so first half summary, we obviously had the long run by Johns Jr. to kick off the scoring. Then we have a throwing pass by Swanson to even that game up, and then a run by the Wright State Raiders to go up ahead on the scoreboard. Other than that, really not a whole lot of action. The second quarter was all defense, no score. First quarter is 7-13 in terms of score, and that's our score at the end of this half. As in the second half, Oakland really got to look to get going offensively.
Yeah, for sure. So we saw that in the first quarter. It was a lot of offense, right? But the defense definitely settled in, and the guys really got a better feel of what they're looking for, and that's what you see as game progresses, right? You definitely see defenses settling in more, becoming more confident, understanding what they're looking at, not as nervous. The nerves are shaking out, and once you start hitting people, it's all just fun and games after that. So definitely something you see very commonly, and I'm excited to see how the defensive adjustments go in the second half as well.
Yep, so we'll take a quick break here as we hit halftime. We'll come back in about 10, 12 minutes, and we'll talk about our second half keys, takeaways of this first half, and what we're going to expect to see as we edge out the final 30 minutes of this one. Drew and Zach, you're listening to WXOU Sports here on YouTube. Score is 7-13. Wright State Raiders ahead of the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. We'll be back shortly.
locker room. So we'll see how that goes. And on the other side of the ball for the Golden Grizzlies offense, they're going to have to get in some sort of rhythm, right? So we haven't seen a whole lot of consistency. They haven't really set the tone on either side of the ball so far. They had that great drive to start off the game with that big touchdown. And like I mentioned earlier, they're going to need a lot of big chunk plays if they want to keep up and keep their conditioning and as a factor for this game. So to eliminate the fatigue issue, they're going to need some shorter drives on offense, and they just don't have the manpower and the size up front and the depth to keep pushing the ball downfield at 4 or 5 yards a carry. So going to need to see some chunk plays there, and on the defensive side of the ball for the Golden Grizzlies as well, their corners are going to have to step up a little bit. And that cover 2 look that we're seeing a lot, the corners have those flats, right? So flats are the guys that are responsible for that field position that stretches from the sideline to about the middle between the numbers and the hashes, right? So going to need those guys to step up, knowing that they have help on the back end, keep everything in front of them, because we can't afford to keep letting the quarterback scramble out and get 10 yards a carry, right? And we can't let those receivers get out in space as well on the sidelines there. So interesting to see how we're going to come out and align differently here, but super excited for what the second half has in store for the Golden Grizzlies.
And also, they've got to get Vincent Johns Jr. more involved in this game, because he had those couple carries on that first drive and he took one to the crib. They've gotten him the ball on almost some trickery a little bit here and there, but on that first drive, that was just a straight play. No tricks there, just physically beating them with their speed. That's what they got to get back to. Take away the tricks, just get back to football.
Yeah, so this trickery, it's a bit of a relative term here, right? So for the Golden Grizzlies offense, it's something that they practice constantly, right? This form of faking the handoffs here and running that misdirection power on the backside. So this is something that's super common to them, and it's something that I also believe that the Raiders defense has practiced all week in practice and has seen time and time again before. So nothing these teams haven't seen before, should be in foreign territory for, or anything that they haven't been able to expect or see thus far. But definitely interesting to see how the Golden Grizzlies offense are going to get the ball to Johns in the second half here, because he's their best chance of winning for sure on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and then for the Wright State Raiders, obviously Ryan Crampton, a big player in that first half for them, as well as Tayon Mullins and D'Angelo Mills. But I don't think a bigger person was more impactful than Swanson. Swanson using his legs, using his arm, getting out. He has a very unconventional stance in the pocket. You notice he kind of stands still, doesn't move around, doesn't bob, doesn't stay up and down. He has such a strong arm that he doesn't really need to use his leg drive in a way. He's able to fire that ball in. And when he does take off, he goes from standing flat-footed to just being a bullet.
Yeah, we did see it kind of come back to bite him a couple times. He's definitely got that calm and poised stance back there, but once he gets rid of the ball, he needs to make sure he's following through and getting all under it.
And Puzdrakiewicz kicks off this second half right here. A bit of a pooch kick, and it's fielded by the Wright State Raiders at the 30, up through the 40. Missed tackle by the Golden Grizzlies, and Lavelle Lyles is up to about the 46-yard line of the Wright State Raiders. So they have great field position as they get started in this second half. 7-13 our score.
Yeah, interesting to see for sure. We'll see how the Golden Grizzlies defense is going to come out in a line, see if they make any changes. Doesn't look like it so far. They're going to stick to what they know best, but interesting to see how they're going to stick to their keys and do anything differently than what they did in the first half, considering what they talked over in the locker room. Hopefully a lot of stuff. Keeping it up in front of them, pressing a little more, relying on your athleticism to make plays on the ball, and keeping everything in front of you and limiting those big chunk plays for sure.
Yep, and then obviously Wright State coming out now in their captain and Swanson back there, the big 6'4" quarterback. Over to his right in the shotgun is Ryan Crampton. Trips down to his left and one split out far to his right. Out by the numbers as the ball's on the left hash. He'll take the snap, hand it off to Crampton. Crampton, left guard up, breaks a couple tackles, misses a hole, and he's up to inside the 40-yard line of the Golden Grizzlies. Ryan Crampton's got his hand all over this game already in the second half. 14 minutes left here, and he's already all over the place.
Yeah, pressure there on the backside from the defensive line, but ultimately to no avail. That the running back, he's a super small guy, might be the smallest guy in the field from both sides of the ball and both teams respectively. So got upfield, was able to get through those holes, get skinny, and make some big plays on the ground.
Swanson now here in the shotgun. Behind him is Crampton, and he'll hand it off to Crampton once again. Crampton gets a gaping hole and breaks it, spins out of a tackle. He's still going, rumbling, stumbling, breaks another one, cuts it back inside, and he is finally forced down at about the 16-yard line. What a play there for Crampton.
Yeah, wow, is this Crampton guy impressive? I mean, he's getting upfield, he's hitting the line of scrimmage, and when he's there, he's got full speed, right? So what does that mean for linebackers and defensive linemen? they're not able to make those plays. Sticking out an arm's not going to be enough, even though he's a smaller guy. He's got all that momentum, and it feels nothing more than like a slap on the shoulder when he's running through at full speed, getting upfield, getting uphill, and getting downhill and running through these tackles.
Officially a gain of 23 for Ryan Crampton. Swanson now in shotgun. Crampton to his left, 2 receivers to his right, 2 to his left. That set that they really like to run today.
Absolutely.
Swanson now looking at everything over. Gets the snap, drops back, looking to his left. He's going to roll out to his right. Got 2 receivers out there, directing traffic, Oakland coverage. But Swanson running, slips a couple tackles, gets to the end zone, and he scores. Swanson puts another one on the board for the Wright State Raiders. Oakland could not get him down, slipped a couple tackles, and all of a sudden it's a 19-7 ball game with 12:45 left in the second half of the third quarter.
Definitely your classic scramble drill there, right? We've seen him roll out time and time again to the right side. Very unconventional for a left-handed quarterback to be comfortable rolling out to the right there with a left hand on the ball, but seems to love it so far, and they're having a ton of success with it on the ground for the Raiders thus far.
17 to kick it for the Wright State Raiders. Good hold, good snap. Kick is up, and it looks like it went right. It did. Kick is no good. So this ball game will stay a 19-7 ball game. The scoreboard hasn't quite updated yet, but that's okay. We know the score.
That's right. 19-7 ball game, 12:45 to go. The linebacker there on that last touchdown, it's about 25 yards out, and he's sitting out there. He's responsible for the left side of the field, right? So on his side, he's kind of caught in a situation where he knows that he's cover 2 defense, and he's got to watch the guys behind him. So in that scramble drill, he doesn't know if someone's coming from his right side, coming down from the back end of the field towards the end zone, or coming up, right? So in that situation, he should be solely responsible for the quarterback, but just goes to show you how a zone defense isn't always the best against a mobile guy, and it really kicked him in the back there and came back to bite him. So interesting to see if the defensive coaches for the Golden Grizzlies are going to have anything to say about that, or if they're going to make any adjustments moving forward, which it looks like they are having a conversation with them down on the field. So we'll see how that goes on the next drive.
When Oakland runs this cover 2, they like those 2 high safeties. Is there something that they can change up in the boundary area or in the flats to help that?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier the flats definitely need to be more shallow, right? So they need to be closer up on those receivers. They have to rely on their athleticism and not worry about anything behind them, right? That's what the safeties are there for. That's not their responsibility, right? So that's why we talk about integrity on a defense. It's one of the most important things that coaches will preach. So keeping our feet set there and getting shallow, and the linebackers just have to be a little more agile on the outer edge there and come up and make the play on the quarterback.
And here's the kickoff, probably another pooch kick, and it is, keeping it away from Johns Jr., and it's eventually fielded by Luke Stein at about the 35-yard line.
Yeah, it's something you're going to want to see on the return team there from the Golden Grizzlies. They're going to have to change something up, right? So they're pooching it in the big gap. So biggest open space on the field is exactly where their kicker's putting it, and hats off to him because he's able to pinpoint that ball time and time again. But the last thing you want is have to rely on the ball bouncing into your hands, right? You know, as a guy that handles the football, you never know where that ball's going. If it hits with the nose down, flat on its side, you know, it could bounce right, forward, or have some backspin. So you definitely want to align there and want to be able to catch the ball in a kickoff. You never want to have it bouncing into your hands. So we'll see if they change that moving forward. But nonetheless, 1st and 10 for the Golden Grizzlies, 7-19 ball game, 12:24 to go.
Yep, Jacobs under center now. Cummins, the running back, behind him. And jumping off sides was the Wright State Raiders. So that'll be a quick 5-yard line, or a quick 5 yards, for the Golden Grizzlies.
And there you hear the defense on the other side of the field. Have their coaches yelling, "Watch the ball!" Right. So the last guy that should be jumping off sides is the defensive tackle. That's about a foot away from the ball. But really great idea there from the Golden Grizzlies coming out in the hard count. Right, catching them a little nervous out of halftime, making them think a little bit and getting in their own head. So it's a great idea from the Golden Grizzlies and a smart little tactic that they pulled out of the hat there from the coaching staff.
Ever since that first drive, they go, they're gonna call false start now after a long deliberation between the officials. It's gonna be a false start.
Interesting to see from the Golden Grizzlies there. It's not very often you see a ref change the call from offsides to a false start after moving the ball. So not sure how that's going to go with the coaches on the Golden Grizzlies side, but I can't imagine they're very happy about them moving the ball after already moving it up 5 yards.
And so early downs have been a problem for the Golden Grizzlies so far in this one, getting really good positive yards to set you up for second down. And this just sets them up in an even worse scenario.
Not necessarily a drive killer yet, but it does have the potential to reach that position, right? So going to need a big play back here on first down to make some up of that ground.
Jacobs under center. Cummins behind him. Cummins will come up closer, but right behind Jacobs now. Jacobs gets the snap, hands it off to Cummins, and he is stood up right at the line of scrimmage, possibly a little behind it. Logan Evans hit the gap and flattened Cummins.
Yeah, it's not a good sign for the Golden Grizzlies on that run play there. So as an offensive lineman, the last thing you want to do is assume that there's no one to block, right? So missed assignments up front. That's exactly what we saw there, to where you're 5 yards upfield looking for someone to block, and then you turn around and realize your running back is wrapped up and getting hugged by the defense. So going to need to communicate more on the offensive line there if we want to establish this ground presence that we're so accustomed to with this Oakland offense. So going to need to talk a little more up front, point some guys out, and stay assigned on the offensive line.
The offensive line, a big problem today for the Golden Grizzlies so far, and it comes down to the size. They don't have the ability to rotate. They don't have the size that the Wright State Raiders do, hence why they have to get creative. Jacobs, rollout pass here, rolling to his right, looking for a comeback route, possibly flips it over the middle, and it is caught over the middle of the field, right at the first down marker, just up past it a little bit by Johns Jr. We talked about getting him involved. There he is.
Yeah, great play there. Naked boot on the backside there, having him come across from the backside as that slot receiver. Great throw there from Jacobs, getting it out to him into triple coverage. So it just shows you how much confidence he has in Johns Jr., knowing that he's going to go up and make a play, not worrying about all the defenders around him. Doing what he needs to do, getting the ball to him and letting his guy take care of the rest, right? So great play there for the Golden Grizzlies.
Yep, so summary, third quarter, 10-10 left, 7 for the Golden Grizzlies, 19 for the Wright State Raiders, trying to mount a bit of a comeback here. As Jacobs in the shotgun now with Cummins to his right, 2 receivers to his left, 2 to his right. He'll take the drop back, steps back, fires over to the left, and looks like he was not on the same page as his receiver, Luke Stein. Either that or he overthrew DeMonte Thomas.
Yeah, and Drew, it's great that you mentioned a couple plays ago about the offensive line being undersized, right? So the last thing you want to do when you're an undersized offensive lineman is not know who you're responsible for, right? Not know what gap you're assigned for, not know which way you're working, and you want to be on the same page. So we saw again there that the quarterback had some pressure in his face pretty early, but the offensive line's definitely going to have to communicate more, talk to the quarterback, talk with the coaches on the sideline, and make sure they know what they're doing each and every play and which way they're working, keep all their cues assigned, and dot all their T's and I's here.
It really comes down to identifying who you're blocking when you're up at the line of scrimmage like right now, huh?
Absolutely. You need to point them out, call them out, ID the mic, everything that you need to do in order to be successful as an offensive group.
Jacobs drops back to pass. He'll fire to his left up along the sideline area in an almost incredible catch by Rob Miller. He looked like maybe getting interfered with, no call. He's wanting the call, stuck his right hand out, just couldn't stick it to his body, as it'll stay a 7-19 ball game with 9:02 left here. Looks like possibly a flag maybe on the play because it is still 1st and 6. Excuse me, that was on 4th down. They just slipped the pin very quickly. So it'll be Wright State ball now here.
Yeah, look at the trust they had in their guys, though. We saw them in a similar situation in the first half. Kick the ball and punt the ball away and let the defense come out there and play their game. But thinking, we're down a couple scores on the scoreboard, definitely need to make up some ground. They put the ball in the air, just threw it into a position to where they didn't have a one-on-one, and not a very favorable matchup there. But nonetheless, quarterback put it up and gave his guy an opportunity. Just couldn't come down with it, and the defense is going to have to come out here and make a stand in a sudden change situation.
Yeah, so now we'll see what Oakland does on defense, if they can finally make adjustments. And maybe they have been making adjustments, and Wright State's just one step ahead of them.
Yeah, we're going to need to see something here from that defense, see if they make any changes. But looks like they're going to stick in that same defense, the base that they've been running, but keeping everything in front of them, something that we noted coming out of the half.
Swanson in shotgun with Crampton to his left, 2 receivers to each side. He'll hand it off to Crampton. Crampton up over to the right, down to the sideline. He's on a foot race. Can he get there? And he's shoelace tackled by Luke Stein, it looks like. Really good run there by Crampton, and a great tackle by Luke Stein to save a touchdown.
And that's a tough situation, right? As a defense, what you got to do, if you're going to bring those guys up and you're going to rely on your guys up front to make plays and not have any help in the backfield, right, in the back end of the defense, you've got to make the tackles up front. If you're going to put the trust in those guys, the linebackers, the defensive ends, the defensive tackles, to get pressure and break through the offensive line, you need to make sure that you're bringing them up in the backfield, because there's no help on the back end of that defense to wrap them up if you're not successful.
Yep, so Oakland, you wonder if they'll drop back those safeties a little more now that they just got gashed in a big one, but it looks like they're going to keep everyone up towards the line of scrimmage still. As Swanson in shotgun Crampton to his left. He'll give a bit of a jet sweep. Players run into each other, and eventually someone comes up to the ball, comes up through the middle, makes a cutback, and gets about 5 yards.
Yeah, definitely some frustration from the Oakland side of the ball here with some refereeing, but unfortunate there. Had a broken play early and couldn't make a tackle on the backfield. So a lot of the unfortunate events here have stemmed from missed tackles right in the backfield. So got to make sure that we're cleaning those up, and things are going to be a lot brighter for the Golden Grizzlies if they do that.
That was Samuel Witten on the carry there. Ran into in the backfield. Him and D'Angelo Mills collided. Somehow Witten came up with the ball, and Oakland fans and faithful are not happy about a missed block in the back call, but nonetheless, we play on here as it's 2nd and 4. Swanson in shotgun. Crampton to his left, 2 receivers to each side. Here comes Witten across the screen, fakes the handoff, and Swanson cuts it back left, spins out of a tackle, and he's chopped down after a gain of maybe about 2.
Way to stop him there from the Grizzlies defense, and that's what you need to do, right? That's their end goal. If they're moving those safeties down and they're playing almost cover 0 in a sense with the zone defense that they've been running, they're keeping guys up front and they're trusting that their guys are going to be able to come up and make tackles. We were able to see it there. They had a couple plays that they weren't so successful for, but I'm sure the coaches have been telling them that we're putting our trust in you guys and you need to back us up on that end as well.
Yep, 7-19 still a score here with 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Threatening right now is the Wright State Raiders down to about the Oakland 14-yard line. It was a 1st and 10. They did give them the first down. Swanson in shotgun with Crampton to his left. 2 receivers to the top of the screen, 2 receivers to the top of the formation, 2 receivers to the bottom. Witten over there on the right. They've been faking him the ball quite a bit. He'll take the snap, hand off to Crampton. Crampton cuts left, cuts right, a little bit of a jump cut, dragging defenders with him for a 5'7" running back. Boy, does he have some power.
Very interesting to see they're pulling that backside guard all game, running the power running concept, right? So something that every team runs, but they're trusting that their Raiders offensive line is bigger, faster, more physical, and wants that yardage more than the people on the other end of the ball. So very interesting to see, but we're going to see them keep pounding the ball, and it's going to be up to the Oakland Grizzlies defense to stop them at this point.
Yeah, but we do have a Oakland Grizzly down on the field right now. Coaching staff and training staff had out there to tend to him. Can't see exactly who it is from here, but we'll let you know as soon as we're able to see a number. Looks to be maybe a lineman, but not 100% sure. Cart comes out right now just with some supplies just in case. So he seems to be alert, but we're going to step away for a minute while the team tends to the down Oakland Golden Grizzlies. We'll be back shortly. And welcome back. Down on the field was Calvin Gibson for the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. He seems to be okay, got up under his own power, walked off the field. So good sign there for the Golden Grizzlies, a team that only has 14 players. They had a guy go down earlier. Thankfully, he was able to return. And Calvin Gibson, your center and biggest player on this team, is vital to their success.
Yeah, 3rd down here. They got their backs against the wall about 5 yards from their own end zone. So we're going to need to make a big stop here for sure.
Yep, 3rd and 2 at the 7-yard line. Handoff to Mills. Mills will take it right and cut back, and he is in the end zone as the Wright State Raiders put another one up on the scoreboard, making this one now 25-7 with 5 minutes left in the third quarter. Cut that one right, made a jump cut back left, and he found his way into the end zone.
Yeah, the Grizzlies defense had everything that they needed there to be successful, right? They made contact with the ball carrier at the line of scrimmage. So if you're not going to have pressure on the back end, which they didn't have there, you're going to have to rely on your guys to make those tackles at the line of scrimmage, as we've mentioned time and time again. So they had everything there that they needed to. They had it all drawn up the way they wanted and just weren't successful with, the basic fundamentals and tackling. So going to need to clean that up a little bit if they want to be able to keep themselves in this ball game.
And after a couple missed extra points, it looks as if the Wright State Raiders here will now go for 2. Figured, third time, maybe not the charm. So they're going to go with a 2-point conversion. Swanson in shotgun with Mills to his left, 2 receivers to each side of him. Oakland trying to get off a 12th defender really quickly. I'm not sure if they did, but a sweeping handoff to Witten. Witten takes it up through the gut, and it looks like he is just short. No good on the 2-point conversion. Oakland with a great stop there to keep this game at 7-25.
Yes, that's a bright sign to take away from a poor possession, right? So they got the ball on the 3-yard line and they stop them on the 2-point conversion. So these defensive guys know they have it in them. They have it in them to be physical, keep their ground, and stand everything up in front of them and limit these places short yardage. But they've got to be able to do it sustainably, right? So what does that mean? We got to keep them in, 2nd and 8, 2nd and 7, and not let all these drives become second and 4, 2nd and 3. So limiting that first down yardage is going to be big for the Grizzlies as they move forward, but it's definitely frustrating as a defense to see big chunks come on the ground on 1st and 2nd down, knowing that you're going to be out there longer and you're not able to stop them. So very demoralizing as a defense, but simple things like tackling well, communicating, and just executing at the best of your ability with the things that you've practiced for so long now are definitely going to be beneficial and are going to be crucial if you want to keep yourself in this ball game.
Yeah, Oakland now almost in a must-score drive situation for the rest of the game.
Absolutely, yeah. So it looks like they're going to come out in that same kick return set here with that guy. So I expect a pooch kick here over that up back and right to our other guy back there ready to come up and field it. But, yeah, definitely a must-score situation because at this point it's going to get out of hand pretty quick if they're not able to put one on the scoreboard, and they're going to flip things on the other way.
And they'll probably target that area where there's no one for about 15 yards between the two guys. That's where they've been pooch kicking it most of the day, is they'll kick it right here. And they'll kick it a little deeper, but the ball will roll out of bounds. No. Oh, it will eventually, yes. Ball was skimpering along the sideline, just touched the chalk, took a bounce back inbounds. That was a close one because Wright State Raiders were flying down the field like a bullet.
Yeah, and that's a dangerous game you're playing as a return guy, right? So you're hoping that the ball's going to skip out of bounds there and you're going to get the ball to 40. But as I mentioned earlier, that's the last thing you want to do. You never want to put control of the game and the way things go in the way that the ball's going to flip, right? So the last thing you want is for the ball to determine your outcome and whether you have the ball or not. You want to be in control as a playmaker back there. That's why you're back there, right? You're one of the athletic guys. You're trusted by your teammates, your coaching staff, and everyone else that's involved to pick the ball up, make a big play, set the tone for your offense. So I'd like to see him scoop the ball up there and make some sort of play rather than, letting the fate of the team go in the ball's hands and the football gods there, right? So going to need to pick that one up now and pick up some big plays on the ground. But nonetheless, 1st and down at the 35-yard line here. The ball did go out of bounds, so 7-25, 4.25 left on the scoreboard. So definitely going to need a touchdown here if they want to keep themselves in this game.
Yeah, and even then, you still mount yourself quite the uphill climb defensively to finally get a stop.
Yes, for sure, and that's something that is just as big of a problem as their offense right now. They need to stop on defense, and they need to put some points up on the board desperately on this offensive drive.
Jones under center with Cummins behind him. In motion is Johns Jr. Handoff went to Cummins. Cummins fights forward for maybe 1, 2 if they give him forward progress. It looks like they will. So Cummins picks up 2 on 1st down, bringing up a 2nd and 8. Oakland trying to get Wright State Raiders maybe a little bit guessing when they bring Johns Jr. in motion like that.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. I think you got to keep it simple at this point. You just need to get the ball in his hands any way that you can. He's too valuable of a player relative to the rest of the guys to use as a decoy, right? So you have to get the ball in his hand. The Raiders aren't lining up with 2-3 guys over him and watching him at all costs. So the decoy isn't very optimal here, and you want to get the ball in his hands at all costs, which we'll see if they do here.
Jacobs under center, Cummins behind him. He'll drop back for a pass. Throws it up over the top to Robb. And it's just off the fingertips of Robb, but there's a penalty marker. Maybe got a handful of jersey there and caused Robb to have to slow down and not be able to get it. But a great throw by Jacobs to Robb Miller.
Yeah, that's where you wonder how strong is this arm and how strong is the wind playing a factor today, right? So, I mean, the second that ball was snapped, he's 15 yards away from him all the way on the numbers on the other side of the field. So it's basically a fade route at that point. He snaps the ball, takes one look, and he decides he's throwing it. So you wonder if that's an arm strength issue. You wonder if he just has that much trust in his guy to go up and get it. But nonetheless, positive yardage for the Golden Grizzlies offense, and they're going to like that moving forward on this series.
Looks like they gave a holding call on the defense on that one. So a fresh set of downs, 1st and 10 for the Oakland Golden Grizzlies at their own 47-yard line. 3 minutes left here in the third quarter. 7-25 our score. Jacobs in pistol, behind him is Cummins. He'll take the snap, flip it to Johns. Johns up around the left, tries to cut back to the middle, and he is stood up by a group of gang tacklers for the Wright State Raiders. Pretty much everybody but number 15 in on that tackle.
Yeah, so really great idea there, getting your best player the ball.
Oh, hold on. The ball might be out.
But
we got a lot of guys yelling for the ball out. Sorry to cut you off there, Zach, but let's see what they do here. And it looks like Johns is down after a dog pile happened on top of him. We're going to have a stoppage of play here as Johns is down on his knees and hands. Continue, please. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I mean, you got to get the ball in your best player's hands at any cost, right? So as I was mentioning before, he's too valuable to use as a decoy, so it sucks to see him down right now. But, I mean, we know this guy is a stud, right? He's an athlete. So we've seen him on that big play to start the game off. We've seen him make some great plays on defense too, but like I mentioned, this is a guy you have to get the ball. So running a play there to where it's kind of a designed flip pass. So it's a play fake to the other up back, and then you're flipping it up to him. But he's catching the ball inside, right? We want to get him outside the hashes there and let him use his athleticism down the sideline to where he's got some momentum, he's got some speed going with him, and he can make a move, put his foot in the ground, and really make someone look silly out there. So definitely want to try and get him out wide a little bit rather than having him making plays inside the tackles and get him outside the hashes.
Johns Jr. walked off the field under his own power. Looks to be okay. Standing right next to the coaches, you think he'd probably go back in on the play after this. But Jacobs in a pistol right now. Takes a snap, drops back. Good coverage here. Screen over to Cummins, and a wobbly throw incomplete. Just not able to get enough mustard on that one to get it over to Cummins.
Interesting route there from the running back for sure. Yeah, definitely a floater from the quarterback as he kind of tossed it out there. But he's leading him back into the middle of the field when there's no defenders on that side, right? So you want to see him put that ball more towards the sideline, let his running back run under it a little bit and catch the ball in a position that he's more comfortable doing so, right? So that guy he's not a receiver. He's got to be able to get under that ball, catch it clean, and get up the sideline and do what he does best.
1:50 left here in the third quarter. 7-25 our score. Oakland at their own 49-yard line trying to mount a comeback drive. Jacobs under center with Cummins behind him. He'll fake the handoff to Cummins, and he'll give it to Mills. No, that is DeMonte Thomas, and he'll pick up about 6. So it'll be third and manageable now for the Golden Grizzlies.
Yeah, it just shows you what their intentions are on that fourth down here. So they definitely have more confidence running the ball, as we've seen a lot today. They like to run that backside sweep for sure when they get in those third and long or distance situations to where they feel they have to pick up extended yardage. But, yeah, definitely a key giveaway as to what they're going to do on this fourth down, as to no one's surprise. But we'll see if they're able to pick that up. But great play there to pick up some yardage and put yourself back in a fourth and manageable situation for the Grizzlies.
A buck left here in the third quarter. We've got a crucial fourth down. Jacobs under center. No one in the backfield. In comes motion. Johns Jr. He'll settle in the backfield. Go back out towards left to his receiver position. And that'll be a timeout by the Golden Grizzlies. Trying to get Wright State to jump off sides, you believe. Sending the star player in motion. Moving guys around, but to no avail.
Yeah, very interesting to see. Usually on that hard count, they have something drawn up into their back pocket, and they have something ready to pull out when that clock gets down. So interesting to see the receiver come in motion, come back about to the center's left leg, and then break back out to his normal position. But you see a lot of teams are ready there. They have some sort of play that they're ready to snap the ball with, right? And there's a play called. They're just trying to get them on 2, 3, whatever it may be, whatever cadence that they're working for. But interesting to see it's not the best timeout usage, right? You don't want to use that in a fourth down and 3 at the end of the third quarter. That's something that you want to use for a 2-minute drive or some sort of situation where you're not aligned on defense, as we've seen so far. But, yeah, definitely not your best timeout usage there. You want to have some play ready in your back pocket, and we'll see if they're able to pull something out and if they really did need that timeout here when they line up for this fourth down.
Yep, and now coming out is the group for the Golden Grizzlies. 49 seconds left here in the third quarter, 7-25. Jacobs looks like he'll go under center with Cummins in the backfield and Johns Jr. to his left. No one behind Jacobs right now as he is under center. Here comes in motion Johns Jr. They'll do a jet sweep to Johns Jr. He is cut down just shy of the first down marker. A great tackle by Crampton for the Wright State Raiders, and Johns Jr. is stood up.
Yeah, I mean, they ran half the play that they did before, right? So on the last play that, they called a timeout on, they had that receiver coming in motion, but he stopped at like the center position and broke back out, trying to get the defense to jump a little bit, make him guess at where he's going. But this time he catches the motion on the sweep. He's coming along the backside. Quarterback hands it off to him, but the defense is ultimately waiting for him with open arms. But not able to get the first down there, and it's going to be Raiders ball, and Oakland Grizzlies are really going to need to stop here if they want to have any sort of chance at getting back in this ball game.
And Johns Jr. is to the left of the sideline in pain right now. Looks to be maybe a gut shot. He did get chopped down pretty aggressively on that last play, so struggling a little bit over there. He looks like he is maybe trying to stretch something out as the offense for the Wright State Raiders comes back out. Chad Swanson, the quarterback, having a great day both through the air and on the ground. To his left, Ryan Crampton, two receivers to their left, one out to the top. Swanson trying to get the troops organized, figure out who needs to be on the line, off the line. Eventually, they look to have gotten it organized. And we got a stoppage of play here. Not entirely sure what happened. Oh, excuse me. Third quarter expired. So that'll be the end of the quarter here. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes for the final fourth quarter of this one to see if the Oakland Golden Grizzlies can mount a comeback in this one. 7-25. Stick with us. We'll be back. And welcome back as we get set to have the fourth and final quarter of play here at Oakland University as we have the Oakland Golden Grizzlies taking on the Wright State Raiders. Our score, 7-25. Drew Allison and my left tackle, Zach Allison, here in the booth to give you the conclusion of this one. Swanson out there for the Wright State Raiders, their star quarterback with Crampton to his right, two receivers to their left. He'll take it back, looks around, coverage held up very nicely. He'll scramble to his right, the lefty. He'll flip it up over the middle and incompletion. Looking for his target. And William Gleason just a little short.
Yeah, and you see the quarterback Swanson there. He's got a little bit of swagger to him almost, right? He's sitting back in the pocket. His feet aren't really tapping. He's not worried about someone coming up in front of him, and that speaks measures for an offensive line too. But yeah, he's sitting back there. He's got the ball just kind of hanging down, very comfortable back in the pocket. And when he does decide to scramble, he really gets on his horse. He's got some better legs than I think we thought coming into this game, but he gets out there for sure, again, working out to his right side. Very interesting to see for a left-handed quarterback and not something you see very often, but unable to get a little touch under that throw and really needs to step in a little more if he wants to be successful and put the ball in the basket for the receiver.
He'll line up in shotgun now with Crampton to his left, two receivers out to their left. He'll do a little bit of a screen to Crampton. Crampton looking for blocker, sets up his blocks, picks his way up for about 4 yards to midfield, give him 5 yards on that one. And you mentioned with him just kind of standing there, having the ball low, is that just trust with your offensive line play part into that?
It's definitely part of it, right? You're not worried about someone coming in your face and making a big issue back there. You're not sitting back there and tapping little less effort. You start to worry about your injuries a little more. Things are in the back of your head. You're worrying about things other than bringing down the guy in front of you. So definitely a fatigue issue at this point, and not something that you can exactly fix mid-game or with coaching. Just an unfortunate reality that the Oakland University defense is dealing with at this point.
Up to Mia Smith now in shotgun. He'll take it. He'll scamper to the left, break a couple tackles, drag a couple defenders with him down inside the 10-yard line, as it'll be a 1st and goal for the Wright State Raiders as they're threatening once again, already up 7-31 with 6:50 left here in this game.
And Drew, we're seeing very different identities from this teams, right? The Grizzlies offense is very one-sided. They don't want to do a whole lot. They want to put the ball on the ground. They want to run the ball under center, fake a handoff here or there. And that's really the only success that they've had. Although it's been limited, that's the success and the sustainability that they've created, is faking the ball, running with a sweep or two. But if they're not, they're turning around and they're giving the ball to that running back. So that's a lot of the only success that they've had, and we see Johns Jr. is down on the field right now.
Yeah, once again, Johns Jr. is down. And that's the other thing that you run into with fatigue is you run into possible injuries. All these guys constantly playing snaps. You know, when you think of someone that plays both sides of the ball, biggest name right now would be Travis Hunter. Imagine having 11 Travis Hunters on your team, having to get all of these guys some sort of rest somehow, some way, constantly cramping, keeping them hydrated. It's a major challenge for these coaching staffs.
Yeah, for sure. And back to my point about identity, we've seen two completely different things, right? As I mentioned, the Oakland's been very one-sided, not showing a whole lot to the Raiders defense to make them think and catch them on their heels at all. But the Raiders offense has been pretty elaborate, right? They've pulled a lot of different stuff out. They've spread things out a little bit. They put a lot of trust in their quarterback, and that's something you can see a lot more often and you can have a lot more faith in when you have a quarterback back there that's experienced. They've been here before. They know a lot of the guys around them. They're able to spread the ball out and do a lot of different things rather than having a one-sided offense that is very predictable for a defense to see.
Another quarterback change. We have Matthew Garassi back there. He'll take the snap, flip it to Witten. Witten is taken down behind the line of scrimmage. No! Are they going to rule him down? Yes, they are. He popped up as if he was never touched all the way down. A great penetration play by Alexander Rivera-Rabin.
Great play from him for sure there, and I mean that's something you wanted to see earlier in this game, right? But it's a great takeaway there that you've got a guy that's able to come up there, make a big tackle one-on-one against a guy that's already got that speed. So if you're catching the ball against a guy with jet sweep, it's super hard to wrap him up, and that's something that people might not take away from that play, but huge play from the linebacker there, coming up and making a big stop at a very tough situation and making that tackle in the open space.
Yep, and so Matthew Garassi will stay in there right now, and we'll have a timeout by Oakland taken right here. 5:43 left in this one, 7-31 the score. We will take a quick break as this timeout happens. We'll be back in a minute. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. And welcome back here at Oakland University. We're done with the timeout. Coaches are done talking to players. We're ready to play football now. 7-31 our score, 5:43 left in this one. Garassi in there at shotgun for the Wright State Raiders. To his left is D'Angelo Mills Jr., two receivers to their left as well, and then two to their right. Oakland looking to just try and get a defensive stop. We got a flag here on the play, and a little bit of a cut tackle happens as the Wright State Raiders get about 4 on that one.
Also saw some friendly fire from number 31 and 15 going for a different shoulder of the receiver that came in that jet motion there and got the handoff on the quarterback. So I mean, it's something, it comes down to coaching, right? It comes down to something you execute in practice. Everything that you work in practice, there's purpose for it. So when you're working towards a certain hip or you have a certain responsibility with your gap, as we saw, the defensive end crashed inside there and ultimately resulted in taking himself out of the play. All these different things that you're coached to do, they have purpose behind them. There's reasons that they do this. You've got to put your trust in your coaching staff and be coachable as a player and know that there's a greater good that you're serving for, even if you're not the guy that's designed to make the play in that situation.
It was an illegal formation on that play. As interesting, we see Chad Swanson check back into the game. So he'll have Crampton to his left, 2 receivers out, and he's going to throw the ball. He's going to fire towards the end zone deep, one-on-one, and an incompletion. Looking for Lavelle Lyles, it appears, in the corner right at that first right side pylon, but unable to come up with it as the ball was floated a little bit just too far out of bounds.
And Drew, I think we're seeing the Raiders put some pride back in their offense here. They're not going to let the backups come out there and just walk the rest of this game through. They got behind the sticks a little bit. They wanted to pick it up, and they brought out the ones, especially number 5, the big quarterback, to come out and make a play and try and get themselves back on track. Stay on schedule, as a lot of people preach for your offense, and try and keep yourself in the first, second, third down and manageable, but they've got a deep one here and a tough test on this third down.
Yep, 7-31's our score as Swanson looking for the end zone, throws across the middle, and he's got him. Touchdown, Wright State Raiders. Samuel Witten across the middle from a strike from Swanson. Another touchdown for him on the day.
Yeah, easy drop back, and that's how you kill a cover 2, right? When you've got an experienced quarterback like you do with the Raiders offense in number 5. He catches the ball, and Drew, he doesn't even drop back. He takes one step, looks, and then doesn't step into his throw, puts it on the money right behind the linebacker and in between the safeties for a touchdown. Easy post route, textbook offense, and great execution there from the Raiders offense to put this one up another score.
Yeah, a day that's not going the way that the Golden Grizzlies envisioned, as the score is now 37-7. They're going to go for the extra point, though. Kick is up, and it's no good once again. So other than that first one, none of the extra points have been good. And oddly enough, the first one was the most difficult, as they had that illegal formation.
Yeah, it's just it's all about fatigue at this point. It's a numbers game when it comes down to it, right? So 14 guys on the Oakland team and about twice that on the other team. At this point, it's tough, right? As you grind this team down and you wear them down. We saw a big third quarter from the visiting team and the Raiders offense, so it's been tough for them so far. But when you see that base defense time and time again after each series consecutively, it becomes natural, right? It feels like practice to a certain extent. When you see that defense and it's the exact same look, the same group of guys as you saw the time before, you begin to understand how to exploit it, what different advantages you have, and obviously number 5, the big quarterback, he knows that his guy is going to get between those safeties, and he puts the ball on the money and backs his coaches up with that play call. Great to see there. Great coaching from that Raiders offense.
So the Wright State Raiders will get ready to kick this one away. Not the day that the Golden Grizzlies had envisioned, but still can play for a little bit of pride here. 4:05 left in the game, 7-37 in favor of the Wright State Raiders. Probably going to go with that pooch kick once again. It's been what they've gone with all day. Oakland seems to have shortened up the distance between the gaps a little bit, though. They'll kick it deep this time, and it'll roll past Luke, and he'll get it into the end zone. He's going to take a knee, and he'll get a touchback on that one. So, thankfully, that one went the way of the Golden Grizzlies.
It's a great kick there, and I mentioned it earlier. The last thing you want to do is put the fate of the return in the trust of the ball, right? You never know which way that thing is going to bounce, but ultimately, great sign there as it rolled through the end zone, and the Golden Grizzlies will get to get set up after a touchback.
Yeah, Luke Stein making a good idea on that one to just take a knee as that ball rolled into the end zone.
And here's a great opportunity to practice some things, right? You're down in a game to where there's not really much of a chance for you to come back and make any noise, but there's 4 minutes left. Perfect opportunity to practice your 4-minute drill. Try and put the ball in the air, stretch the defense out a little bit, and move the ball downfield and pick up some first down. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of identity they want to establish on this drive, but I do expect the Golden Grizzlies to try and air the ball out a little bit and utilize the opportunities that they have left in this game with 4 minutes left on the clock and rolling. So We're going to see if they come out in a shotgun here and if they want to try and push the ball downfield at all. But they are back in that Wildcat with Johns Jr. in the backfield. Very surprising for a guy that's been banged up to this point.
Yeah, Johns Jr. says, I know I'm injured, but I'm going to play my heart out. I want to keep playing this one. As he's in the Wildcat, he'll take the snap. Thing about the pitch, duck under a tackle, and he kind of gets stood up. But we'll have a flag coming on this one. 2 flags now. Maybe a face mask, horse collar. Looks to be a face mask. So Golden Grizzlies will get a much-needed 15-yard penalty on that one.
Super interesting to see. I mean, that's a play that we haven't seen all day, right? So back to my original point, if they're going to try and maximize this opportunity and do everything that they can with this 4-minute drill situation and really treat this like practice and take a lot of great things out of it is their hope for sure. So making the most of your opportunities, no matter what it is, if you're big down on the scoreboard, whatever the case may be. We see the Golden Grizzlies doing the best they can given the circumstances, but very good sign to see from a team, right? This is something that can give them a little bit of confidence in the next week. Put some stuff on the film that you're able to look at and be like, yeah, these are some great things that we can take looking forward and build into our offense and become a stronger identity as we move forward in the next week. And a lot of stuff that you haven't put on film so much thus far, and some things that you look at and you're able to exploit a little more and you feel, hey, this is something that definitely needs to become more of our offense. And your opponent next week only saw it maybe once or twice a game, so it's not something that they saw consistent success from a defense for, but definitely interesting to see how this offense moves forward.
Jacobs back under center now. He'll fake the handoff. Eventually, he'll hand it off, and that play is going nowhere. A loss of yards on that one for DeMonte Thomas. Loss of about 2 to 3. And that one did not go the way that the Golden Grizzlies wanted.
And there's definitely still an opportunity here for the Grizzlies, right? I mean, they're at their 38-yard line, 2nd down and 11. They definitely still have a chance here to make some noise, but it'll be very interesting to see if they want to stretch things out and try and catch the defense on their heels a little bit with some unfamiliar territory, some stuff that they haven't seen thus far, or if they want to stick to their identity and keep stuff on the ground as they have for most of this game. But I think you really got to keep the defense on their toes and make them think a little bit. Put them in some situations that they haven't been in before. The last thing you want to do is let the other team become comfortable. And as they've done today, between fatigue, athleticism, all the other factors that have influenced the outcome of this game, you want to keep everything that's in control in your control, right? So everything that's on your play sheet, take some stuff out that you haven't put in yet. See what works, see what doesn't, because now is the time, too, with the opportunities that you're presented with.
Yeah, and right now we have a Wright State defender down on the field. Looks to be getting stretched out, most likely just a cramp. As we mentioned the fatigue. A lot of these guys playing 2 ways, mixing up things. So fatigue does set in when you're not able to stay hydrated and stay rested.
Yeah, it's a big thing for sure. We knew it was going to happen at some point in the game. Third quarter is always a very, very big quarter to where you can kind of see what things happen in the locker room. So we'll see just how that went. But, yeah, that third quarter was a big quarter for sure and very interesting to see. But, yeah, we do see a guy getting helped off the field here by his coaching staff.
Yeah, I know he said helped off, but he's actually being carried off. He's being carried like a groom carries his bride out of a wedding. Really, really looks like a large, strong man for the trainer is carrying number 2 and D'Angelo Mills Jr. off the field.
Appears to be in good graces, though. He got some cheers from his teammates as he was coming off. So I wonder if that's just the defense having a little fun in this situation or if the Raiders actually a little hurt.
Jacobs now fakes the handoff, drops back, looking for the screen, not there. He's going to scramble out to his right, makes one man miss, makes another man miss, cuts it back to the left side of the field, up through midfield, chopped down at the 47-yard line. One of the best plays in a long time for the Oakland Golden Grizzlies as Jacobs gets a big one.
So that's a great example of making the most out of your opportunities, right? As soon as he takes a snap, he's got pressure in his face, 3 guys up there, drops back, sees that his running back isn't open off the halfback screen, doesn't force it like he did earlier. Instead, flips around, spins back to the wide side of the field, makes the most out of his blockers, and gets upfield for a gain of about 20 yards. Great play there from the quarterback, and I expect to see his legs used a lot more in the coming games for the rest of this season.
Jacobs now back there with Cummins to his right. He'll step back to pass, looks left, flips it, and it looked like that ball got batted down at the line of scrimmage because it was nowhere near the intended target. So another paw getting up in the air and deflecting a ball.
Yeah, and that ball, it's a situation where at this point, it's becoming a common theme, right? It's something that we've seen a couple times. So you need to readjust yourself as a quarterback and put yourself in a window to where you're able to deliver that ball in an opportunity that gives your receiver a chance to get it, right? Or you need to put that ball with a little more zip on it, a little more spin to let it get it past that defensive lineman. But as an offensive lineman, you want to make them pay for that, right? So your coach as an offensive lineman, when those guys put their hands up, they're vulnerable. You need to put the hands on the chest and remember that they shouldn't be doing that anymore. So give them something to remember. Give them a little bit of hit. Let them know what they're doing.
Jacobs in shotgun, Cummins to his right. He'll step back to pass, throws one up, wide open target, and he's got him. Tries to make a man miss, and he's tackled down at the 21-yard line. He got loose.
And Jacobs was smoked in the backfield there, but put that ball up where his receiver could get it. Great sign from the quarterback, and we see the arm strength there. He's got it. He put that ball out there, gave his receiver an opportunity to get it, and he did. And the Oakland Grizzlies are going to move down to about the 23-yard line here with 1:45 to go. Perfect example of what I mentioned earlier, maximizing the most out of your opportunities and making an advantage out of nothing there for the Golden Grizzlies offense.
Devontae Thomas, number 2 in the reception, is now Johns Jr. has it. He breaks to the left, and he is thrown out of bounds. Really good shoulder tackle there by the Wright State Raiders. $1:32 left in this one, 7-37. Oakland trying to at least end this game on a high note.
Yeah, the Raider defender coming up and making a great tackle, knowing that he has a sideline to his advantage, sitting down a little bit, watching the spin with that back hip, but ultimately forcing the Golden Grizzly out of bounds there. Johns Jr., who's been a common name that we've said today. Great offensive playmaker and way to get him the ball in space and a 4-minute drill opportunity that the Golden Grizzlies have found themselves in right now.
Yeah, Jacobs now still back there in shotgun. Back there all by himself now and empty. No, Cummins is next to him, excuse me. Throws it up towards the end zone, and that one is way out of bounds. There are many lines on this field because it is such a multi-purpose field. You wonder if maybe he was looking at the wrong line.
And, Drew, that's a great point because when I first saw that ball, I thought he had a chance to get it until I realized where the pylons were. So it could be a bit of a soccer field issue that's coming into play, and something tells me that Jacobs is going to be telling Coach that one's not exactly on him, but definitely need to put that ball in a position where your receiver has a chance to go and get it because when the ball left his hand, he looked up and he stopped running.
Jacobs now will be in pistol with Cummins behind him. One tight end to their right, one receiver all the way out to the right. Tight end and receiver to the left. Jacobs steps back, flag thrown on the play, and it's handed off and up through the middle into about the 5-yard line. But I think this one might be coming back possibly in illegal formations as Rob Miller found his way down to the 5-yard line.
Great run there and way to use the blockers to your advantage. Cutting that ball up before you get outside, and that's a great job of reading your blocks. But actually, an offsides from the defense there as the flag was thrown as the snap was tossed back to the quarterback. So definitely going to decline that one and let the clock keep running. And Golden Grizzlies really trying to put one in the end zone here as the clock ticks under a minute to 45 seconds left here in this ball game.
7-37 our score as we go under 40 seconds now. Oakland really need to work with a sense of urgency here. They're taking their time. You don't know how many more chances you're going to get.
Yeah,
they do have timeouts.
Coming out here under center, trying to put one in the end zone, sticking to what they know best, running the football.
Jacobs rolling out to his right, naked boot. Nobody there, cuts up towards midfield, and into the end zone goes Jacobs. Touchdown, Golden Grizzlies. 7 up on the board.
Great play there from the quarterback. Steps out, booting out to his right with the receivers running. He's got a drag short at about 4 yards, and he's got a receiver deep in the end zone. Understands both of those guys are covered, doesn't force it. Puts his foot in the ground, cuts back towards the middle of the field, makes the guy miss, and gets into the end zone. Great play there from Jacobs, the quarterback. And really wanted to see his dual threat ability utilized a little more, right? So, I mean, this guy has put his foot in the ground, has made a lot of big plays on the ground, has had about 40 yards rushing this drive alone. So really starting to wonder where this was the rest of the day, but I do expect to see this a lot more as a common theme moving forward as the Grizzlies play other teams on the schedule. Really want to see his legs utilized a lot more for this offense.
And now Oakland will go for 2 just to try and score as many points as they can. Jacobs will be under center with Cummins behind him. Everybody up towards close to the line of scrimmage. A little bit of a sweep, and there goes Johns Jr. Race to the pylon. Can he get there? He can. Johns Jr. wins the track race to the pylon.
Excellent play there, getting your playmakers the ball in space on that drive. Great things to take away, and as we mentioned, maximizing your opportunities, doing everything you can with the ball in your hands, no matter the situation. Although this game was out of hand, they got the ball, 4-minute drill, scored with 24 seconds left to go. Almost perfection from the Golden Grizzlies offense there. Everything you needed to do, getting the ball in space with your playmakers, making plays when you could, and doing everything that you could with your opportunities, right? We saw on a play there at the end where Jacob scored the touchdown, snaps the ball under center, boots out to his right, nothing doing, doesn't force it, makes an experienced decision, makes a great decision at that, puts his foot in the ground, cuts it up into the middle of the field, makes the guy miss, and puts one in the end zone. And then we saw on the 2-point try there, getting the ball to your best guy, Johns Jr., letting his legs work some magic, getting outfield, no tackles to break with that speed, and he was into the end zone with an extra 2 points on the board for the Grizzlies. Great work there on that 4-minute drive, and we love to see that moving forward for this team.
Yeah, 15:37 the score, 24 seconds left here in this fourth and final quarter. It'll go down as a loss for the Golden Grizzlies after a great win last week, and the Wright State Raiders will move to 1-1 this year. You wonder if the Golden Grizzlies try and go with an onside kick here, maybe just to see if they can get lucky and put a couple more points on the scoreboard?
Yeah, as we mentioned before, making the most out of your opportunities and maximizing efforts out here. It's a practice scenario, right? So it can't hurt you. I don't think that the Raiders would exactly try and run up the score with 20 seconds left, but interesting to see. And they will boot the ball deep to the best of their ability.
Yep, and then Wright State will just smartly fall on it and probably just come out, take a knee, and end this game. 15:37 the score. It'll be the final score as well in this one.
Interesting decision there from the Oakland kickoff team and the coaching staff. Taking out what they could with that last drive at the 4-minute series. One to end on a high note. Can't blame them for that one. Didn't have a lot of things going in their favor today, but did execute a great 4-minute drive there. And that's ultimately what you need to do. When you have 14 guys on this roster and you have limitations with depth, you have to utilize your playmakers, right? So the guys that are athletes, the smart guys, the communicators, the leaders across both sides of the ball with those 3-4 core guys that you have, those guys need to be the people that you're put in the best positions to give your team a chance to win, and they did that on that drive. It's a great sign moving forward. Need to execute those things in the future if they want to be successful in future games.
And Wright State Raiders will take a knee here to end this one. Clock will tick out. Wright State will add a win to their column after a loss last week to Michigan State, and the Oakland Golden Grizzlies will add a loss to their column. They'll move on next week to take on Milwaukee. That game will be here. That game will be here at Oakland University. It'll be a Great Lakes West Conference game. Another big one for the Golden Grizzlies as they look to try and have a better season they did last year, a year that they weren't too proud of. And now they do have a loss this year, but they also do have some great wins this year. So 15:37, our final score here. We thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at WXOU Sports. We'll do all types of sports games, interviews, and everything. If you want to hear more about the club football team at Oakland University, there's an interview on the WXOU Sports YouTube page with Giovanni Maucheri and the Joe Mo Show with coaches from the Oakland University Club Football team. So thank you, everybody, for listening. For Drew Allison and Zach Allison, signing off. Have a good one.